Abandoned camps, giant footprints, and eerie sounds echoing through the trees. Some call it legend, others call it real. Watch closely, then decide. Is Bigfoot hiding in plain sight? At first glance, the video showed only empty woods, nothing more than rustling leaves and shadows. But when the team played the footage backwards, an unexplainable figure emerged. A footprint too big, a figure too tall, a moment too strange to ignore. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about how these creatures reveal themselves. What if the creature you've been hunting was already watching you, closer than you ever dared to imagine? One night in the dense wilds of North Florida, two seasoned researchers found themselves within 10 yards of something growling, something with red eyes, size 16 footprints, and the power to trigger car alarms without ever being seen. Was it the elusive skunk ape, or something even stranger? Welcome to Bigfoot Stacy, a raw and relentless YouTube channel that's earned respect in the cryptid research community for boots-on-the-ground investigations into Florida's wildest Bigfoot territory.
Parked out so that we wouldn't disturb anybody. Parked out pretty far from where everybody would be. Locked the truck up, started to go on our way.
Known for their no-fluff, deep woods approach, Bigfoot Stacy and his team have been documenting the unexplained for years, particularly through their Apalachicola skunk ape project. This isn't just another shaky cam cryptid chase. This is methodical research fused with real danger and real evidence. In this chilling segment from September 24, 2016, two members of the team returned to a known habituation site deep in the Apalachicola wilderness, just after a terrifying overnight encounter. The energy was tense, the story was fresh, and something had been watching them. But it wasn't just the darkness they were up against.
Today is September 24th, and I'm David Lauer, investigating one of our Apalachicola tracks, one of our habituation sites out here last night.
That night started like many others, with equipment checks and a quiet walk through the woods. But when their vehicle alarm began blaring in the middle of nowhere, things quickly escalated. They circled the truck, alone in the woods, and that's when they noticed strange streaks on the hood.
There was some activity. There was an encounter that happened about 65 yards over here from this.
Before they could make sense of it, a deep guttural growl shattered the silence. It came from just 10 yards away. What followed was a moment of raw fear. Red eye shine flickered from behind a tree.
My buddy sat and watched, saw a red eye shine, watched it for about 20 seconds to make sure.
One of the men watched it, unblinking, for nearly 20 seconds. His partner caught a 2-second glimpse before the creature vanished. They sat frozen, overwhelmed by what had just happened. Watch for yourself how close they came to the unknown.
You see, it's roughly 16.5 to 16 inches long. A few feet in front of that, and this impression here.
But the next day is where things took a turn toward scientific credibility. The team began scanning the area. What they found wasn't vague or anecdotal, it was tangible. A trail of massive tracks led up and down a hill, one after another. Some measuring 14 inches, others 16 inches, pointing toward the possibility of multiple creatures in the area. The prints showed clear toe indentations.
And this track also measures roughly 16 inches
and
as well.
We're walking down this trail checking for any more tracks from the encounter we had last night.
The team didn't just observe, they began casting them, preserving physical evidence for study. And here's where it gets interesting. These tracks weren't random. They were found near a food plot, game trail, and young pine thickets, a perfect corridor for a creature that knows how to move unseen. These weren't just footprints. They told a story of presence, one that couldn't be easily dismissed.
Yeah, food plot.
Food plot. You can see it's approximately 14 inches long. Here's the heel. Here's the toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
When one of the prints was examined, 5 distinct toe impressions were visible. Another track nearby was nearly identical in size, proof that at least 2 separate animals were walking that trail. And where there are tracks, there's the potential for hair snags, the next target in the team's search. Listen closely to their real-time analysis and the growing realization they were not alone. Watch for yourself as they uncover the trackway.
You can see the indentation of the brake. And on further inspection, we have a game trail right here.
Throughout the investigation, the team's tone shifts from cautious skepticism to quiet awe. They've seen many things out in the woods, but this event, these tracks, and that growl all added up to one of their most compelling experiences yet. And when you hear them say, "This is the best find we've had to date," you realize this wasn't just another night in the woods.
The ones we found closer to the parking lot pad were also 16.
This was a turning point. As they continue casting tracks and connecting patterns, one statement hits hard. They're here. That sentence doesn't come lightly from these guys. It's a conclusion built on experience, repeated signs, and now physical evidence. The tracks led straight down a trail to a half-pad print with all 5 toes still visible, being cast right there on camera. See for yourself what convinced them this wasn't a one-off encounter. Play here.
Sir, we're at our habituation site, September 24th, Apalachicola Track.
So, here's the question. Are these just legends? Or are we finally getting closer to understanding a creature that's been slipping through human fingers for centuries? Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Apalachicola skunk ape is real? And what would you do if you heard that growl in the dark? What if the creature long believed to be a backwoods legend is actually carving out a home in Florida's swamplands? Could the elusive skunk ape really be building shelters right under our noses? The YouTube channel Sasquatch. Florida isn't just asking these questions. They're out in the field trying to answer them. Their mission is intense and long-term, to track down undeniable evidence that Sasquatch, or the skunk ape as it's known locally, is real and roaming the wetlands of Florida.
This is really interesting. There are scratches. I don't want to lose track of where I came in.
Their team ventures into the dense, often unforgiving terrain every month, staying patient, methodical, and focused on documentation. No hype, no shortcuts, just boots on the ground and cameras rolling. In this unedited video titled, "Possible Skunk Ape Sleep Shelter Found."
See that tree? Whoa! Oh man, don't get excited.
The investigator navigates through thick cypress groves and root-wrapped riverbanks. The area he's exploring was fully submerged just 6 months earlier. Now, with water levels down, the land has revealed something unexpected, a shelter-like structure that defies easy explanation. The footage begins calmly.
What I observed. Anyway, what I observed is that this would have been 6 months ago underwater.
He points out how the earth here operates with a kind of natural intelligence, cypress roots rising above ground, soil adapting to the shifting swamp water. But what starts as an ecological observation turns into a discovery with cryptid implications.
Those are roots of the cypress trees that grow out of the ground. And the prevailing theory used to be somehow they were trying to.
It's a dome-like mass of intertwined branches, palmettos, and bent foliage. Nothing about it looks accidental. The layout appears intentional, shaped with symmetry, and large enough to accommodate a creature the size of a human, or something even larger. And tucked just inside the structure is something strange.
The burn in that type of trail I found was up there.
A discarded plastic water bottle. The floor of this hidden spot? Completely flattened, as if something large had been regularly lying inside it. The investigator takes note of this. Its kit, its protective form, the care with which materials appear to be woven together. The structure doesn't match anything known to be naturally occurring in this kind of environment.
I'm not a structure guy.
He pauses to consider the possibilities. Could a person have made this? Maybe, but if so, why here? Why in a location that was recently underwater, far from any path or sign of human activity? Then there's the water bottle, a detail that seems minor until you realize it could carry DNA.
Dude, look at this.
Watch for yourself as the camera moves into the core of this strange construction. What makes the moment even more compelling is the investigator's clear sense of discomfort.
Beavers? Because if there was water here, I don't know.
This isn't a staged performance. There's real uncertainty in his voice as he circles the structure, visibly piecing together what he's seeing. He's seen odd branch piles before, but this feels different, more deliberate, too deliberate. Then, a subtle shift in the environment catches his attention. Faint knocks or thumps in the background. He freezes, trying to locate the source.
I don't know what this is. Hope that's not bees.
The quiet turns tense. It's the kind of moment that makes even a seasoned explorer reconsider their next step. There's no special effects here, just raw footage and real reactions. This isn't about making Sasquatch glamorous. It's about honestly investigating what's out there, one discovery at a time. Watch for yourself when the tension builds and something strange is heard just outside the camera's view.
Look at that. The palm frontons. And you people thought I was full of shit about the cove.
Back inside the shelter, the camera lingers on what looks like tangled clumps of material lining the ground. At first glance, it appears to be grass, but its density, color, and placement raise doubts. Could it be something else? Something organic? Whether natural or not, it adds to the mystery. Throughout the video, the investigator avoids leaping to conclusions, and that's key.
Is that fur or grass? It's probably grass.
He's not presenting this as proof, but as a genuine find worth examining. And that's what separates Sasquatch Florida from so many others. They document, they observe, they keep going back. Watch for yourself how he reflects on how this entire zone, once underwater, now conceals a built formation.
Yeah, with a plastic water bottle?
This shelter find may not confirm the existence of the skunk ape, but it adds a compelling puzzle piece. When combined with other documented structures, tracks, and vocalizations from similar areas, it raises serious questions. Something is out there, and someone, or something, may be living much closer to humans than we realize. So what do you think? Was this a coincidence of nature?
The Earth has an immune system.
Or a sign of something with intelligence, perhaps something not yet acknowledged by science? Could the skunk ape finally be narrowing the gap between legend and reality? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you've seen anything like this, anywhere, now's the time to speak up, because the investigation isn't ending here. It's only getting deeper.
Your immune system. So the Earth has an immune system. Enough of my philosophy. I can't prove any of that. But it's just...
Have you ever wondered if cryptids like Sasquatch are more than just legends, waiting for the right moment to be revealed? Deep in the forests of Connecticut, Real American Monsters takes viewers on an unforgettable journey to track down and document the cryptid phenomenon. Chris Reinhardt and his team dive into the mysterious and often chilling world of Sasquatch encounters, bringing first-hand experiences and the search for answers into the light. What they uncover in Larry's Woods might just change everything they thought they knew. Real American Monsters is a YouTube channel dedicated to exploring the mysterious and often terrifying world of cryptids that exist on the fringes of known science. Led by Chris Reinhardt.
So today is the first time we have ever found knuckle prints. This is how grown in it. I just want to...
The channel embarks on expeditions deep into unexplored terrains to capture elusive creatures on camera, document strange encounters, and dive into the history and science of these elusive beings. The channel's investigations offer a unique blend of boots-on-the-ground research, scientific methods, and thrilling experiences.
When they have, it's got 3 heavy-duty things, and then it just, I can see it. Clips right in.
When Chris steps into Larry's Woods, the place feels different. The air is thick with the weight of past encounters, the scent of damp earth mixing with the subtle whispers of the forest. As they start to investigate, the first thing Chris notices is a set of footprints, measuring 39 inches in stride length.
Is 39 inches.
This is a familiar sign, a footprint that matches what they found before in the same area. But something has changed. This time there are knuckle prints near the path, showing that the creature may have traveled on all 4s.
Look, you can see the toe and everything. See it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a nice one.
Chris's footsteps crunch on the dry foliage as he inspects the ground. The first sign of activity is a series of prints, stretching out in a familiar stride length. But it's the knuckle prints, clearly visible, that indicate a more deliberate movement, something large, moving in a way not seen before.
Here it is about 62 degrees, beautiful, beautiful day, and we're getting in the woods.
As Chris moves deeper into the woods, he discovers that the gifting site, a place where offerings have been left before, still holds some secrets. The basket remains in place, but the apples and peanut butter jar, gifts left behind on previous trips,
But they didn't come back. All the apples are gone. How do you know? I don't understand that.
are gone. This is a clue. Something or someone has taken the offerings. The creatures in these woods are not passive. They are engaging, leaving behind signs and messages that are difficult to ignore. The gifting site looks almost unchanged.
Probably a bear. But if it was a bear, he'd see that peanut butter and grab it.
Except for one major detail. The apples and peanut butter jar are missing. A footprint found near the rock suggests that the creature is not just accepting gifts. It's aware, it's intelligent, and it's responding in its own way.
We're looking at
As Chris continues to document the scene, the evidence grows stronger. There are more knuckle prints, 4 deep grooves pressed into the earth beside a footprint. This is no coincidence. Something large, something heavy has passed through, using all 4s to maneuver through the area.
well, it's sunk in, so it's like 6, like 5.5, 6.
It's clear that this isn't just an animal. It's a being with purpose, with intention. Chris crouches down, inspecting a fresh knuckle print beside the footprint. The prints are clear and unmistakable. This is more than a random creature roaming the woods. This is something that uses its fists to move through the forest.
I'm really excited to see the same print. I'm really excited to see that.
Something that's aware of the surroundings and intentionally leaves these marks behind. The team doesn't waste any time. Chris sets up new trail cameras in strategic spots to capture any future movement. Pheromone chips, known for attracting cryptids, are placed around the area to encourage a response. As the cameras are positioned, there's a sense of anticipation in the air. The woods are silent, but the evidence suggests that the creature is watching, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself again. In these woods, the cryptid is not just a figment of imagination, it's a real presence, and it is actively interacting with the team.
Just got to get them back. And I guarantee you they're gathering somewhere else. They're just not in this area because there's nothing here to gather. There's no nuts.
The broken branches, the knuckle prints, the missing gifts. All of these signs suggest something beyond what mainstream science can explain. Are cryptids like Sasquatch simply myths? Or are we on the verge of discovering an entirely new species? One that has remained hidden in the shadows of human understanding for centuries.
It would end up like this.
Yeah, there was an X right there.
Yeah, yes.
Check this one out.
As Chris and his team prepare for the next phase of their investigation, they know one thing for sure. This mystery is far from over. The signs are there, and they will keep looking for the answers. What do you think? Are cryptids truly out there, waiting for their moment to be discovered?
That is a nice print. That's the same size as we always find here. So they're coming through. He came through to check and see if we've been back. That's my guess.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more chilling investigations into the world of real American monsters. Stay tuned for the next episode, where they'll dive even deeper into the mysterious woods to uncover more evidence and perhaps, just maybe, capture the elusive creatures on camera.
Fridge pieces from Colorado and from me. Peanut butter is wedged in the tree. We found a knuckle print and...
Have you ever felt like something was watching you deep in the woods? Something not quite animal, not quite human? What if the forest wasn't empty at all, but occupied by something we don't fully understand? Welcome to the shadowy trail of the unknown. And this time, we're not alone. This is the world of Sasquatch Presence, a YouTube channel that doesn't just chase myths, it steps right into them.
Right down the road from Lake Hemet, here in the brambles, the brush. This area hadn't burned in a long time. There had been a lot of fires somewhat in the area.
From remote California wilderness to abandoned desert lands, Sasquatch dives headfirst into the eerie and unexplained. It's a boots-on-the-ground exploration of high strangeness, where sightings of Sasquatch, Dogman, and other cryptid creatures.
I don't know necessarily. I mean, a Bigfoot could probably do okay out here. There are cattle. On the way in, I saw sheep and goats.
Are taken seriously, not sensationalized. This particular adventure begins with an intended hike to the Black Mountain Trail in the Idlewild Pine Cove area. But nature reroutes the plan.
9mm casings, great. Since it did just rain and snow, we have a lot of fresh dirt.
Deep snow and impassable roads push Sasquatch to a detour, Forbes Springs Road near Lake Hemet. And that's where things take an unexpected turn. As he steps out into the crisp, quiet morning.
So hard living in Southern California, trying to be a Sasquatch paranormal researcher.
What begins as a simple exploratory hike quickly transforms into something much more compelling. The area is isolated. Towering cedar trees, patches of pine, thick manzanita undergrowth.
Hoping it's too cold for snakes because this looks like it would be prime rattlesnake territory.
It's the kind of terrain that could hide anything, or anyone. Play here. Sasquatch begins his trek off Forbes Springs Road after Black Mountain access is blocked by snow, unknowingly entering a more mysterious trail. Sasquatch doesn't just hike, he observes.
Coming up here long enough time to know that in a couple weeks most of the snow will be gone, so I probably can go back to Black Mountain.
He points out signs of wildlife, deer trails, coyote scat, even mountain lion tracks. But then comes something that doesn't quite fit. In a dried-up creek bed, he notices a deep impression in the sand, larger than a human foot, and with unmistakable toe definition. Not fresh, but not old either. It's not shaped like any known boot print or typical animal track. There's something off about it, something deliberate. That's the kind of thing this channel is built on. Not fantasy, but anomalies. Matt Squatch documents what he sees without jumping to conclusions.
Something coming through here. Interesting.
Yet his tone shifts slightly when describing the feeling in the air, like being watched. Not in the paranoid sense, but in that primal, hair-on-your-neck standing-up way that makes your instincts whisper, "You're not alone."
Indentation? A paw print? Huh. Look at that. Toe, 1, 2, 3, 4.
He discovers a large, unusual footprint with toe impressions, a silent signal that something large passed through recently. Further in, he stumbles across another oddity, an unusually large indentation along a side trail.
Almost like a partial print again.
No clear print, but something heavy made contact there. It's details like these that form a breadcrumb trail of high strangeness, a trail you'd miss if you weren't looking closely. And what's especially compelling, this isn't deep in an uninhabited jungle. It's within reach of civilization, just remote enough to stay hidden in plain sight. The trail is seldom used. The time, early morning in cold weather, is precisely when few dare to venture out.
Indentations. I guess I should look up now and then, right?
That's the secret sauce to cryptid research, Matt Squatch explains. Low traffic areas, off-season visits, and the willingness to wander just a little deeper than most. But this video isn't just about finding footprints. It's about sensing presence. The moments when Matt Squatch pauses, quiet, scanning the brush, noticing that birds have stopped chirping, or that the wind feels a little heavier. That's where the mystery lives. Not always in what you see, but in what you feel. By the end of his hike, it's not a loud encounter or dramatic reveal that leaves a mark. It's the accumulation of subtle clues.
Tracks and prints.
The kinds of things seasoned trackers notice and skeptics brush off. The questions raised by this short detour are bigger than the hike itself. What kind of creature leaves a 15-inch print in soft earth? What kind of intelligence avoids trail cameras and human eyes, yet leaves behind just enough to make you wonder? Play here.
I'm at 12. Hold on, let me cut the camera and take some stills.
A palpable shift in atmosphere. Matt Squatch experiences an eerie feeling of being watched, intensifying the mystery of the terrain. Matt Squatch doesn't set out to prove Bigfoot exists. He sets out to document what's out there, and sometimes what's out there is far stranger than fiction. So the next time you find yourself deep in the woods, ask yourself, are you really alone? What if alien life wasn't something locked away in a government vault or hidden in distant galaxies, but quietly revealing itself in the woods of Pennsylvania? That's the question at the center of one YouTube channel that documents it all. The channel is called Deb's Local PA Alien and Dimensional Research. And unlike viral creators or loud personalities, Debs isn't here to entertain. She's here to observe, to record, and to question. She walks into the woods alone, nearly every day, camera in hand, trying to understand what's happening in these small patches of forest. Her videos don't rely on dramatics, they rely on presence. It starts with the sounds. The moment she steps out of her car, you hear it, a shift in tone.
The mad hat, oops, we're in the street now. Okay.
The birds go quiet. The static in the air thickens. In one video, she barely sets foot outside before she spots movement just off the trail. Something short and fast, ducking behind a tree before the camera can catch it. Watch for yourself as Debs notices something near the brush line, before the day's investigation even begins.
I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? What is that?
There's no announcement, no build-up. She quietly says, "There's something over there," and moves in closer. That's the rhythm of her work. Calm, deliberate, focused. What she's seeing or sensing never stays long. It's like the woods let you glimpse things, but only if you don't stare too long. On that same trail, she returns weeks later and finds the little red door.
We were at the little red door, obviously. I just said that.
Not a fairy tale, a real tiny wooden door, fitted neatly into the base of a tree. It wasn't there before. Next to it, a Canadian flag, a plastic frog, a gnome. The scene looks staged, like someone built a shrine, but no one claims it. No trails lead to it. And when she comes back a few days later, the setup is rearranged, not vandalized, rearranged, as if something or someone interacted with it. Watch for yourself as she quietly documents the arrangement and questions how it keeps changing.
I hope I see the black things when I get out of the car.
Debs doesn't offer explanations. She films, she reacts, and she leaves space for viewers to interpret. That's what makes her footage compelling. One video captures what she calls a portal tree. She's shown it in multiple videos. Its trunk twisted in a strange way, spiraling in toward itself like it's folding inward. The leaves around it shimmer slightly when the sun hits a certain angle. But it's not light distortion. It's different, and near that same tree, she hears something whispering. Not voices, just a vibration, like static rising and falling right in her ear. Later in the same area, a small shape appears behind a tree. No face, just a gray outline, low to the ground. She stays silent and films it until it's gone. Watch for yourself. She turns the camera slowly and catches the figure peeking out, almost playfully, before it vanishes.
There's 1, 2, 3 in between this tree right here. Yes, there was. There's one and one to the...
There are no dramatic sound effects in her videos, no narration or interviews, just raw footage, subtle clues, and the feeling that something intelligent might be watching from just beyond the frame. Watch for yourself. The entire clearing holds a kind of tension, like something invisible is standing still, waiting.
Oh, what's going on? Did you guys crash again?
She never claims to know exactly what she's encountering. Her videos are not about conclusions. They're about moments, glimpses, signs that we are not alone, but that whoever or whatever else is out there doesn't always want to be seen. And maybe that's why the videos are so haunting, because they don't scream for attention. They whisper, they suggest. They leave you with a question. If it were you in those woods, would you even notice something watching?
But anyway, I mean, I knew because I would see it, but I could not, even scrubbing a video, which is frame by frame by frame, I could not slow it down enough to show you.
Now let's switch coasts, way out in Georgia, on a warm, clear night lit by a full moon. The kind of night that should feel peaceful, safe, but for Jamie Wilkerson, it turned into a nightmare. It was around 11:30 p.m. when her boyfriend dropped her off at the top of a long dirt road that led to her house. It's the kind of place where the trees lean in close, where the light barely touches the ground. Jamie started walking, alone. The only sound was the gravel crunching beneath her shoes. Then, crack. Something heavy stepped into the woods behind her. She stopped, listened, silence. She kept walking, a little faster now, And then she heard it again, this time closer. Heavy steps, deliberate. Something was following her, keeping pace, just out of sight. She glanced over her shoulder, and that's when she saw it. About 10 feet behind her, half shrouded by the trees, was a creature straight out of a nightmare. It looked like a gorilla at first, huge, bulky, walking upright.
I was walking all the way down to my house, and I heard a big, loud, heavy animal. It looked like a big gorilla.
But the more she stared, the more wrong it looked. It had long arms, almost dragging the ground. The chest was broad like a linebacker. Its face was partly in shadow, but the eyes, they shone in the moonlight. Reflective. Not like an animal, more like a person's. A person with no soul. Jamie froze, clutching the cross around her neck. She whispered a prayer, any prayer. Then she turned and walked faster, resisting every urge to break into a sprint.
When I just turned around, grabbed my necklace, and just prayed, please, God, I just knew that it was something to get away from.
She could hear it behind her, the slow, steady thud of feet on dirt, not running, not growling, just following. She said it was like it wanted her to know it was there, that it could catch her any second, but chose not to. Jamie didn't look back again.
I moved all the way over to that side of the road, and then I walked maybe 10 feet down, turned to look behind me. It was just following me with its head just all the way down the road. And I just turned around and never looked back.
She kept her eyes forward, focused on the soft glow of her porch light through the trees. Every step felt like it took hours. Her breath came in short gasps. And the air? It felt heavier the closer it got. When she finally reached her house, she slammed the door shut, locked every window, and stood in the hallway shaking. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. She peeked out later. Nothing. But that feeling never left. She described the creature's features later on. And it's horrifying.
You could clearly make out the whole silhouette of it. You could tell that it was shoulders coming forward.
The head was too large for its body, almost swollen. Its shoulders hunched unnaturally. The fur was long, shaggy, caked in mud. And its mouth slightly open. No sound, just the faint glimmer of yellow teeth beneath a lipless grin. It didn't attack, it didn't charge, but somehow, that made it worse. Jamie says she never walks alone at night anymore. That road, she avoids it like the plague, because she knows something's out there, and it saw her. 2 different states, 2 very different people, but the same terrifying message. Bigfoot isn't just a campfire story. It's out there, watching, moving silently through the woods. And when it decides to show itself, it doesn't need to roar or chase. It just appears, calm, patient, like it's been waiting. So if you ever find yourself walking through the woods alone, listen, watch the tree line. Because when the forest goes quiet, you're not alone. And whatever's out there already knows where you are. The clock strikes 12:23 a.m. The dense forests of Wisconsin are cloaked in darkness, the canopy above swallowing any residual light.
It's going to look for prints.
Larry and I were talking about prints in the mud and wondering if prints in the mud only happen on accident.
The air is thick with anticipation. As Matt Moneymaker, Bobo, and Larry Dopke, seasoned members of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO,
I think they may happen on purpose sometimes.
Well, I won't step in mud because I don't like to have muddy feet.
embark on a nocturnal expedition. Their mission to uncover evidence of the elusive Sasquatch. Armed with flashlights, recording equipment, and an unwavering determination, they delve deeper into the woods, their senses heightened with every step.
They don't blink.
Barefoot or not? You don't think so?
They avoid mud because they don't want to leave tracks, not because they care about stepping in mud.
Yeah, but on other occasions, they might purposefully leave tracks.
As they navigate the uneven terrain, the trio discusses recent findings, unusual footprints, broken branches, and distant howls that defy explanation. The forest, silent yet alive, seems to watch their every move. They try to get a reaction by copying sounds they think Bigfoot might make. They laugh while trying different noises, clearly enjoying each other's company, even though it's a little scary.
Remember how you used to do the yoo-hoo?
Yeah.
Like a real sultry, beckoning, loud yoo-hoo.
First of all, yoo-hoo is not sultry, but I'll do a yoo-hoo.
Well,
then, out of nowhere, a loud, high sound breaks the silence of the night. The laughter fades, replaced by a tense silence. The forest responds with an eerie stillness, as if holding its breath. Determined to investigate further, Matt proposes the inchworm technique, a methodical approach where team members leapfrog each other to cover more ground while maintaining stealth.
about 100 yards, I will snap for you, then you guys can go past me again. The inchworm is when one part moves ahead first and then stops, and then the other part catches up.
Matt: I'll go ahead about 500 yards. Once I signal, you guys move past me. We'll keep doing this pattern. This strategy allows them to advance deeper into the woods without alerting potential creatures to their presence.
That way. That's not a loon. Doesn't sound like a loon. Doesn't sound like the coyote noise that was made.
Each movement is calculated, each pause filled with anticipation. As they proceed, the forest begins to reveal its secrets. Faint rustlings, distant knocks, and fleeting shadows suggest they are not alone. The team remains vigilant, documenting every anomaly.
Sticks dragging across each other.
Shh, listen. Listen.
Shh. Hold on. Did you hear that, Matt?
The realization sends a chill down their spines. The possibility that a Sasquatch is observing them becomes increasingly plausible. As dawn approaches, the team regroups, reflecting on the night's events. While they didn't capture definitive evidence,
Area where a Bigfoot would feel very comfortable because there's a zillion places where it can be out of view very quick.
the experience reinforces their belief in the existence of Bigfoot. The Wisconsin woods hold many secrets, and for Matt, Bobo, and Larry, this night adds another chapter to their ongoing quest. Their dedication exemplifies the human spirit's relentless pursuit of the unknown, reminding us that some mysteries are worth chasing, even in the darkest of nights.
Imitate Matt's coyote. It was definitely odd.
I think there's something up here, man. There's so many little tidbits here and there over the last couple of years in particular.
It was the end of summer, the kind of warm, quiet night that wraps the forest in stillness. Joe Coca and Vanessa Gutierrez wanted to squeeze in one last camping trip before the season changed. They picked a private spot in the New Mexico wilderness, parked their vehicle, set up camp, and let the night fall around them. The air was cool, stars blanketed the sky, and the forest was calm. Peaceful, almost too peaceful.
Sasquatch they encountered that night, that's also super important because that's another report from that same cluster, that same area.
They eventually fell asleep in their vehicle, comforted by the soft sounds of nature around them. But at 1:30 in the morning, that calm shattered. Joe woke up suddenly. Something had touched the front of their car. He felt a soft thump and heard it through the metal. At first he thought it might be a curious animal, maybe a deer or a raccoon, but then it moved.
It makes its way around the vehicle where we have all of our food.
I saw a tall, dark, broad figure, and it just walked right up against the truck.
The sound of something heavy brushing past the side of the car, slow, deliberate. It wasn't scampering or scurrying, it walked, on 2 feet, and it was circling them. Joe held his breath. Vanessa sat up too, eyes wide, listening. She looked out the window, and that's when she saw it. A tall, broad figure, just barely illuminated by the faint moonlight filtering through the trees. It was huge, its frame blocking part of the woods behind it. No fur patterns, no clothes, just dark, towering, human-like, but not human.
she starts crying. She says, I want to get out of here now. So I jump in the front seat and we pull out and head towards Highway 4.
Vanessa's voice trembled as she whispered, "I saw it." She started to cry, pure panic setting in. It wasn't on 4 legs. It was standing, 2 feet. It wasn't an animal, it wasn't human either. Joe knew they couldn't stay.
My whole life, so I've heard lots of animals, and when it walked by, it wasn't like a 4-legged animal. It was standing upright, walking, you know.
He quickly got into the driver's seat, grabbed the keys, and started the car. The headlights turned on, and for a moment they saw a shadow move past. They didn't look back. The tires kicked up dirt as they sped down the road, headlights lighting up the trees, their hearts beating fast with fear. They didn't stop until they hit the highway, miles away from the campsite. Silence filled the car. Shock, disbelief, and that heavy question neither of them could shake. What the hell did we just see?
Numerous accounts by people that say Sasquatches come into campsites and go through their food. We're gonna try to figure out the size of this prowler by putting Vanessa in the same position she was that night when she saw the thing.
To this day, Joe and Vanessa remain shaken by the encounter. Neither one believes it was a bear or mountain lion. It was too tall, too upright, and too deliberate. The way it moved, the way it watched them. It felt intelligent, a predator, but one not from any field guide or textbook. Bigfoot? Sasquatch? Something else entirely?
About there.
Right about here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna raise my hand up, and when my hand reaches the level where you think the thing's shoulders were, yell stop.
Okay. Stop.
Okay.
6'3".
Top of the shoulders, 6'3".
Maybe some questions don't have answers. But one thing's for sure, Joe and Vanessa won't ever camp in those woods again. And after hearing their story, would you? It was the last day at hunt camp. The sun was high, casting golden beams through the dense canopy of trees. Birds chirped overhead. The forest was quiet, too quiet. No wind, no elk, just stillness, like the woods were holding their breath. One of the hunters, an experienced outdoorsman, decided to set up his blind near an old elk wallow, a muddy depression where bulls often roll and thrash to mark their scent. It was the perfect spot, or so he thought. He sat patiently, surrounded by thick trees and tall whispering grass. The forest had that midday calm, the kind that makes you feel like you're the only one alive for miles. But little did he know, he wasn't alone. No elk showed up, not a single snap of a branch or distant bugle. Just silence. Until something moved. Less than 30 feet away, a massive figure stepped into view, upright, powerful, and completely out of place in the peaceful scenery. The hunter froze, his eyes widened. He wasn't looking at a bear, or a moose, or any creature known to this forest. It was walking on 2 legs, towering, broad-shouldered, its limbs too long, its gait too smooth to be human. The thing was covered in dark, matted hair, blending almost perfectly into the shadows. But the sunlight caught just enough to expose muscle, mass, and movement. The hunter instinctively raised his camera, hands shaking, but managed to catch clear footage. He whispered, "What is that?" Barely able to believe what he was seeing. The beast didn't seem scared. In fact, it looked like it had been watching him all along. At exactly 2:21 p.m., as he stepped out of the blind to inspect the area, his boots crunched into something strange in the mud. Tracks, big ones, nearly twice the size of a man's foot. Deep impressions, clear, unmistakable toes. The stride was too long to be a person faking it. His heart pounded in his chest. He crouched low, tracing the print with his finger, the size and depth sending chills up his spine. This wasn't just an encounter. It was evidence. A single question echoed in his head. Was that Bigfoot? The forest had returned to silence, but it felt different now, like something just beneath the surface was watching, waiting. He packed up slowly, eyes scanning the trees, every crack of a twig behind him making his skin crawl. He left that forest with more than just footage. He left with a story, one that blurred the line between myth and reality. And though he made it out safely, he'll never forget the moment he locked eyes with something not meant to be found. Would you? North Carolina, a state with dense forests, shadowed valleys, and legends that refuse to die. One such legend came to life for a man named Mike Green, a dedicated Sasquatch researcher who had spent the better part of 2 decades tracking something most of the world dismisses as fantasy. But Mike knew better. He had seen it, felt it, and one night in the wilderness, it came too close for comfort. The story caught the attention of the whose mission was to explore real-world claims and experiences surrounding Bigfoot. They traveled deep into the North Carolina woods, to the exact site of Mike's encounter. There, standing next to him, they listened closely as he recalled that chilling night. "Right here," he said, pointing to the flat patch of earth surrounded by thick trees and silence. This was the place.
So we got the footage.
Right.
I love it. I think it's amazing. It's definitely unique. There's nothing else out there like that. And you're saying it was right here?
Here it is. This is the spot, and that is the stump. That stump right there is where the candy bar was when he grabbed it off the thermal.
Mike described that night with haunting clarity. He was alone at a remote campground. No other campers, no other signs of human activity. Around 3 a.m., he was jolted awake by a strange noise just outside his tent. A presence, heavy, intentional. It wasn't a rustling animal or passing breeze, it was deliberate. Something hit the side of the tent, a bang, not just enough to startle, but to terrify. Then silence.
3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. Down there somewhere, I heard this plopping noise. It sounded like somebody dropping a water balloon on the floor.
Knowing the reputation of the area and not one to waste an opportunity, Mike sprang into action. He had a thermal imaging camera pre-mounted on a tripod outside. Without wasting time, he got in his vehicle and drove to the far end of the campground, thinking whatever it was might move toward the now abandoned tent. He waited. 2 hours passed, still nothing. When he returned to the camera site, he found the battery dead. It was a devastating blow. His best chance at capturing irrefutable evidence had slipped away in the dark.
And it ran off. I heard this rustling down here, and I thought, God darn it, he's down there watching. And on the spur of the moment, I had a tripod there with all my other junk. I took the tripod out, set it up right next to the back of the car, mounted the thermal on it, and I got in my car and conspicuously drove off. And I drove way to the other end of this campsite, and I just parked there and I waited for 2 hours. And then I came back. Candy bar was gone, and the battery was dead. I knew what I'd seen.
The DMAX team, led by experienced field investigators, decided to recreate the scenario in exact detail. They placed a thermal cam at the same location, mimicked Mike's movements, and camped out in the same conditions.
Unequivocally, it was a squatch. The image does not reflect any cold spots that it would if you were wearing a fat suit or a lot of insulation. Its general shape was of a Sasquatch.
Their reconstruction showed how plausible the story was. The logistics, the timing, the isolation. Everything lined up. And more importantly, the energy of the place felt off, as if something still lingered there.
We're about to try running a reconstruction of Mike's video.
We'll use Bobo, if you don't mind being the model, being the Sasquatch.
Just the model. Okay. I'm going to be the stand-in for the Bigfoot. We're going to position Mike's thermal exactly how it was the night he got the footage. So we're going to compare me to the size of the creature in the video, and we'll also be able to do a comparison of the heat signature between myself and the creature in the original video.
We're going to try to position Bobo.
Fueled by Mike's account, the team prepared for a full-scale night investigation. They split into 2 groups, each equipped with thermal cameras, night vision scopes, and walkie-talkies. Their goal? Sweep the surrounding area for movement. Hours passed with little more than the occasional animal scurry. But then, something shifted.
So it's exactly in some of the key points that we see in the footage. When we put these side by side, we'll be able to see like how long the thing's arm is compared to Bobo, etc. Okay, Bobo, we're gonna roll this footage, and then we're gonna have you in a minute kind of crawl up toward the stump. So, stand by. Okay, play the recorded in.
All right, you guys ready?
One of the teams spotted movement on a nearby hill. It was subtle at first. A shadow, a trick of the trees, but then it moved again, deliberately, upright, bipedal. The thermal imaging camera confirmed what their eyes could not. This wasn't a deer. This wasn't a bear. It was walking on 2 legs. Panic pulsed through the radio chatter. And then, without warning or coordination.
I've done 3 expeditions here. I'm pretty confident that that was a Sasquatch in the film. We're gonna go look around. We've got handheld thermals. We've got night vision. We're gonna go spook around and see if we can get one to follow us. So I decided to split the group into 2 teams. Cliff and I were gonna stay down low with our thermal devices while Bobo and Renee started their sweep into the woods.
Matt Moneymaker, one of the lead investigators, took off. He bolted up the slope in pursuit of the figure. The rest of the team scrambled to catch up, shouting for Matt to stop, to fall back, to regroup. But the adrenaline had taken over. This was what they came for. And Matt wasn't going to let it slip away. As Matt crashed through the underbrush, cameras rolled, breathless updates poured into the radios. But the terrain was rough, visibility limited, and whatever had been there was gone.
There's something on the hill.
What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to run up that hill?
No, we're not supposed to do this.
Why is he going up there?
Whatever I saw was big. I looked all to God like it was walking on 2 legs, and there might be a Sasquatch right here.
The team reassembled at base camp, shaken and frustrated. Some were upset about the lack of coordination. Others felt Matt had done the right thing. What if that was their only chance? What if the figure never showed up again? Mike Green watched quietly as the discussion unfolded. He'd been there before. He knew the feeling, the burning urge to chase what others deny exists. And he knew, perhaps better than anyone, how easily a moment like that can vanish before your eyes.
I don't see him. Bobo, do you copy?
I read you, Matt. Come back.
All right, this is what I saw. There was a bipedal figure. He was planking across the hill. If it's a squatch, then we've got some thermal footage of it. But I want to come back and we'll look at the tape over there, and we'll see what we can figure from that.
The footage from the night showed little beyond the thermal outline. A heat signature that resembled a human form but was clearly not behaving like one. The path it took was steep and rugged, far too treacherous for a casual hiker, especially in pitch darkness. And there were no footprints, no sounds of retreat. Just one more mystery added to the growing pile of Bigfoot encounters across the country. But in that remote stretch of North Carolina forest, something stirred, something real, and it moved on 2 legs.
This is not how you collect evidence of any animal. Where's the plan? Where's the communication? We don't just run off rogue into the woods haphazardly.
Gotta be hiding.
The team left the site with more questions than answers, but one thing was certain. This wasn't just another story. This was an event, witnessed, pursued, and partially captured. And the presence that haunted Mike Green's campground 2 decades ago? It may have returned.
Okay, well, this is my footage. This is what I saw through the thermal imager. I saw a profile view of it. It had arms. It was moving along. I could see the leg lifts. It was definitely a bipedal figure.
Right in the middle of this viewer is this hot image of somebody solid hot.
Because in the world of Bigfoot research, every confirmed encounter, every shadow caught on camera, every panicked radio call adds one more piece to the puzzle. And as that puzzle grows, the question becomes harder to ignore.
And I've heard it now.
What are you, the fawn? Can't admit you're wrong? I mean, dude.
I was absolutely right. I'm not going to wait, and I'm certainly not going to ask their permission. I'm the leader there, and I'm going to make decisions about what I need to do in those spur-of-the-moment situations where there's not a second to lose, and they just have to live with that.
The next clip comes from the YouTube channel Master Hughes, a man known for exploring the wilderness and sharing his findings with a loyal following. But this time, what he captured is something different, something that sent chills down his spine. It was dawn. Fog blanketed the entire mountaintop in Oklahoma, where he had been camping for several nights. For the first few days, things were normal, rustling in the trees, distant animal calls. But Master Hughes claims that the last 2 nights were dead silent. And then came the howl. He pulls out his camera, clearly shaken, and begins recording what he's hearing. The howling echoes through the dense fog, long, drawn out, and not quite animal, and definitely not human. There's something off about the pitch, the tone, even the rhythm. His heart is racing, and there is discomfort in breathing. Still, the howl rings out again, this time louder, clearer, and bone-chilling. The camera pans slowly as Hughes shows around, trying to show his audience that the footage is real and authentic. The fog is too thick. We can't see beyond a few feet. He's been in the wild for 6 nights. He knows the forest's usual sounds.
Now, I think this is my 6th night out, and for the first couple nights there was a lot of noises at night, obviously animal noises. The last 2 nights it's been extremely quiet.
But this one has him terrified. Could it be a predator announcing its presence? A creature celebrating a kill? Or was this howl a warning, letting others know the hunt is over? Later in the video, he sits down to talk about what he experienced. And you can see it. He's rattled. His voice is uneven, and his eyes scan the tree line constantly. "I've been keeping a low profile," he says. Could it have been Bigfoot? A skinwalker? Something else entirely? Or was it a creature we haven't identified yet? One that doesn't like being seen? We'll leave that for you to decide. Watch the clip, listen closely to the howls, and let us know what you think in the comments. This next clip comes from the YouTube channel Ohio Paranormal Investigations, a platform dedicated to uncovering and sharing eerie and unexplained sightings from across Ohio. But what you're about to see might just be one of the most unsettling pieces of footage they've ever received. It's a quiet day at Salt Fork State Park, one of Ohio's most well-known hotspots for strange activity. The forest is dense, the air damp, and a light fog hugs the tree line. Dried leaves crunch underfoot, and tall trees loom overhead. The video begins with a wide shot, and then movement. Something large, something not quite human. Partially obscured by the trees, a tall, dark figure shifts in the distance. You can hear the man filming, a fisherman, not a hunter, breathing heavily. There's fear in his voice, unease, maybe even sorrow. He wasn't looking for trouble. He came to fish, not chase monsters. His hands shake as he tries to hold the camera steady. He zooms in as trying desperately to lock on to the figure. But in the thick of the trees and fog, it's hard to make out. 1 second it's there, the next, it's gone. The man whispers something under his breath. He's rattled. And who wouldn't be? This isn't a man looking for fame. He isn't tracking creatures or telling stories. He simply stumbled upon something bizarre, something big, something that moved like it didn't belong among us. Was it Bigfoot? Was it something else entirely? Or was this just another trick of the forest? An illusion cast by the fog and fear. But the question that lingers isn't just about what he saw. It's about why these things keep happening in this forest. Are our parks and trails home to something ancient? Something hidden? Watch the clip again, listen to the sounds, feel the tension. And ask yourself, did this fisherman really capture a Bigfoot on camera? Or did something want him to see it? Let us know your thoughts. This next piece of footage is being hailed by many as the best Bigfoot sighting since the legendary 1967 Patterson-Gimlin footage. And honestly, once you watch it, you might just agree. We're deep in the woods. Snow coats the forest floor. Tall, dry trees stretch into a pale sky. Everything was quiet until the camera started rolling. The footage begins with heavy breathing and a shaky lens. Not your average nature hike. The man behind the camera is clearly in shock. Something rattled him to the core. And it wasn't just a fleeting shadow or rustling leaves. No. He saw something, 2 figures walking upright in the snow. He fumbles with his phone, quickly pulling up the camera. He knows he saw them, and now he wants to prove it.
Right up ahead of us here, I just saw 2 figures walking.
The camera pans slowly, struggling to focus. You can tell he's scared. His breathing, the tremble in his voice, the slight panic in how he zooms in too fast. But then, just as he adjusts, he catches movement. He pans slightly to the left. And there it is. A tall, bipedal figure, black against the white snow, moving slowly but confidently among the trees. And it's big, not just in height, but in sheer mass. This creature isn't hiding. It's moving freely like it owns the woods. Suddenly, it stops. It turns toward a tree, grabs it, and starts swinging it like it's nothing more than a toy. You can hear the panic rising in the man's voice. He whispers, "We gotta get out of here. We're too close." And honestly, who could blame him? That wasn't just a random action. That was strength, raw and unsettling. Whether it was a warning, a show of dominance, or simply play, we don't know. But whatever that creature is, it's not just wandering, it's aware. The video cuts, but 30 minutes later, the man returns. Against better judgment, he heads back to the exact spot of the sighting, camera still rolling. He points toward a tree. It snapped, resting on the ground just as the creature left it. The snow beneath it is marked with massive footprints, long strides, deep impressions, not the kind you'd expect from a human. This thing wasn't wearing boots. It wasn't barefoot either. The print is wide, unlike anything you'd see in your average wildlife tracking guide. You can hear the conflict in his voice. Curiosity is still battling fear. What did he really see? What was that towering figure that moved through the trees like a ghost, then demonstrated power that no man could match? Was it angry? Territorial? Or was that entire scene, the tree swinging, the slow approach, just a warning, something to say? I see you. Now leave.
The video. Okay. Here's that tree. Like a creature broke in for whatever reason.
And that brings us to the bigger question. Was this a Sasquatch? A Bigfoot? Or something entirely unknown? We're left with broken branches, giant footprints, and a few minutes of raw, trembling footage that raises more questions than answers. But one thing is for sure. Whatever that was, it wasn't human. The forest has secrets, and sometimes if you're in the right place at the wrong time, you catch a glimpse of something that was never meant to be seen. Watch the footage again, frame by frame. See the movement. Listen to the fear. And ask yourself, what really lives in our forests? The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch operations, known for their boots-on-the-ground Bigfoot investigations, received a chilling submission that overlaps with one of the most well-known survival stories in the American wilderness. This is the story of Rita Chrétien, a Canadian woman who survived 47 days stranded in the remote Nevada wild. But this footage may suggest she wasn't alone out there. Rita and her husband had taken a wrong turn in March of that year. Unfamiliar with the terrain and unaware of seasonal closures, they ended up deep in the brutal backcountry south of Roland, a ghost town surrounded by dirt tracks that turn into an impassable maze during winter. Many of these roads don't open until late June. The environment? Hostile, isolated, and rarely traveled. In those conditions, survival alone is a feat. But what was caught on camera near that region adds a whole new layer of mystery.
She was located south of a ghost town called Roland, on a spur road of a maze of dirt roads in the rugged Jarbidge country. It is not just rugged terrain, it is brutal there in the winter.
In the video submission, a couple can be heard gasping softly as they zoom in on something unexpected. The shot is shaky at first, but then stabilizes slightly. There, tucked into what appears to be a natural rock formation.
Does it look like anything to you, or is it just my eyes?
Looks like something to me. I think we should leave the camera on it for a little while and see what it does.
Okay.
A cave-like spot partially obscured by broken branches and brush sits a dark figure. It's large, still, almost as if it's watching. They both are wondering, what is that thing? As they struggle to adjust the zoom. At roughly a mile away, the image is grainy but clearly bipedal. The figure isn't standing, it's sitting, shoulders hunched forward, arms resting on its knees like it's resting. You can feel their confusion, fear, curiosity.
Does it look like anything to you, or is it just my eyes?
Looks like something to me. I think we should leave the camera on it for a little while and see what it does.
Okay.
The woman zooms out briefly to try and describe the location for later reference. There are light green trees in the foreground, likely younger pines, and a row of tall, dark evergreens in the back. It's between those trees that the creature sits, unmoving, partially shaded by the canopy.
Right up there, that's where he's sitting. Or the rock is sitting, or stone. Huh?
Up by like the triangular trees?
Yep. See how they kind of come down, and then there's some...
Was it coincidence that this sighting occurred in the same region Rita Chrétien was stranded for weeks? Or was something watching? That part of the Jarbidge wilderness remains largely untraveled.
That big rock that's square, right below the very bottom tree, it's just up and to the right of it a little bit, like 5 feet.
But as this clip shows, Sometimes the most remote corners of the wild hold more than just stories of survival. They may hide something, watching, waiting, and very, very real. This next clip comes from a YouTube channel called Broadcast Downloads, who received a startling piece of footage from a group of contractors working deep in the forests of Alberta, Canada. It was supposed to be a routine trip. The workers were headed to a remote construction site, the kind surrounded by dense woods, far from the nearest town. As they made their way toward the clearing, the fog rolled in, visibility dropped, and that's when something caught their eye. At first it was just a silhouette, a mysterious dark figure standing motionless near the tree line. One of the men quickly pulled out his phone and began recording. The others stood still, confused, questioning. The shape barely moved, but its size was clear, massive, and completely still, as if watching them. And then, suddenly, movement.
Oh yeah, okay, now I see something, yeah. Yeah, he's kind of coming over the...
Without warning, the figure hurls a large tree branch, not just tossing it, but launching it across the clearing. It crashes to the ground dangerously. The men are not standing very far. You can hear them gasp. One of them yells. Panic sets in. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't someone in a suit. This was real, and it was far too close.
It's kind of spooky to begin with because it's this kind of shadowy, murky figure, just sort of peeking, just barely visible at the tree line.
Just through the tree.
The team later sent the footage in for analysis. Former NYPD image analyst Connor McCord runs the video through his enhancement software. The enhancement of the colors clearly reveals the figure in the woods and its incredible strength. What you're seeing now is no illusion. Something was out there, hiding in the mist, and it made its presence known in the most chilling way possible. Was it Bigfoot or something else entirely? We'll let you decide.
There's a mist and there's shadows from the forest. This all causes the image to be blurry. What I'm going to do here is do a level adjustment. It adjusts the brightness and the contrast. There we go. This is our target right here.
Our next sighting takes us to Old Forge, New York, a quiet town nestled on the western side of the Adirondack Mountains. Known for its dense wilderness and remote terrain, it has now become the backdrop for something truly unexplainable. It was a foggy afternoon when a group of friends were out exploring the area. As they moved through the woods, something caught their attention in the distance. A large, upright figure moving between the trees. At first they assumed it might be a bear, but then they looked closer. One of the men pulled out his phone and started recording. The footage shows a tall, black figure, bipedal, walking steadily and without hesitation. What's unsettling is how human-like the creature's movements are. You can clearly make out its arms swinging, the posture completely upright, and the stride smooth, confident. Whatever this was, it wasn't crawling or lumbering like a bear.
I don't see it right now.
Whoa, there it is.
It's a bear. That's not a bear. What is that?
It's a freaking bear.
A bear walking on legs that's brown around here?
You can hear the men in the background debating, their voices laced with nervous curiosity. "It's a bear," one says. Another disagrees. "That's not a bear, man." The creature walks as if it has nothing to fear, not hiding, not avoiding them, just calmly passing through the woods. No signs of panic, no sounds of aggression, just that eerie, unbothered movement through the mist. Was it Bigfoot? A Sasquatch? Or some unknown being that calls these mountains home? We'll let you decide. Take a closer look at the clip and let us know what you think in the comments below. Camp deep in a forest known more for whispers than welcome. With snow on the ground and temperatures dropping steadily, Jer Bear, host of Exploring with Bear, returns once again to Bigfoot territory. But this time, The silence around him carries an edge, and what follows will test every limit of his courage. It's just after nightfall. The fire behind him flickers weakly against the darkness. The temperature hovers around 25 degrees Fahrenheit and is expected to fall to 12 by dawn.
It is so much creepier out here at night when you're all alone. I don't know if you guys seen last week's video, not part one of this one, but last week's. There was a light that I captured at nighttime.
Inside his tent, the setup is modest but carefully thought out. Thermal blankets, layered clothing, 3 tea candles for warmth, and an emergency biofuel canister just in case the MRE heater fails again. The woods beyond the fire's reach are shrouded in shadow. A week earlier, Jer had captured unexplained lights deep in those very trees. Lights where no trails lead and no homes exist. Tonight he scans the same area. Nothing, just dense forest and the creeping cold.
That's a tree squeaking. Sounds like something walking.
Then the sounds begin. Jer steps outside with his flashlight and tries a few wood knocks, 2 clean strikes, a quiet challenge to the unknown. Something stirs in the distance. There's no knock in return. But the strange light from his previous visit is gone. The forest feels heavier now, not in sight, but in presence. Each step away from the tent feels like entering another world, a darker one. Cold creeps in hard now. His fingers are nearly numb. Breath fogs in the beam of the flashlight. Then something shifts. Without warning, a low, guttural growl rises from the dark. Not close, but not far either. It's raw, like air being forced through a heavy chest. And it isn't followed by footsteps, just silence.
Something was growling out there. I am armed, but man, that sounded scary. See if it growls again.
His heart races. He is armed, but instinct tells him this is no ordinary animal. It wasn't the bark of a coyote or the distant rumble of a bear. It was something else, brief, primal, and unsettling.
That was scary. My heart's about to pound out of my chest. That was a crazy sound.
No visual confirmation, no further sound, and yet, the feeling of being watched doesn't leave. Hours before, the camp had seemed quiet, routine even. But as the night deepens, each flicker of firelight seems more fragile. The heaters fail to hold warmth. The candles burn down, and the wind, once steady, now shifts irregularly, as if following something moving just beyond sight. Inside the tent, silence presses in. There's no more movement, no more sounds. But that moment, the growl, the pacing, the whistling, hangs heavy. Watch closely again as the pacing first begins. Watch yourself.
All right, guys, you know what we got to do now, right? We got to call Bigfoot. Couple knocks. See if he knocks back tonight.
It's quiet, almost unnoticeable, but distinct. Something is there. By morning, no footprints are found, no broken branches, just the memory of something circling, breathing, and warning. Jer has explored abandoned asylums, haunted homes, and hidden trails. But this night stands apart, not for what was seen, but for what was sensed. An invisible presence that left behind no trace, but a lasting unease. So what did he hear? Was it a territorial animal? A trick of the wind? Or was it something deeper, something ancient, that simply watches and waits in the colder corners of the forest? The answer remains unclear. But one thing is certain, some places never truly sleep. A familiar trail winds through the heart of Alberta's Nordic region, quiet, rugged, and steeped in unexplained stories. It's the same route taken during Supernatural Sasquatch Part 2, now revisited under different conditions. The snow has melted, revealing clearer paths, but with thaw comes other challenges. Mud clings to the trail's low spots, and beneath a serene landscape, something waits. The journey begins smoothly. The terrain is manageable, undulating hills, quiet creeks, and a strong sense of solitude. But by the 4th kilometer, trouble strikes. A new pair of boots fails catastrophically, creating blistering wounds that turn every step into a test of will. Watch yourself.
Yeah, this is a really bad blister, and it's already opened up, and I'm predicting that the one on the other foot will open up as well. Whew. It's about the size of a toonie, like a Canadian toonie.
The raw moment he reveals the open, torn skin, already the size of a toonie, and the realization that this hike won't be forgotten easily. Despite the pain, the exploration continues deeper into the backcountry. Here, scattered encounters echo through the local folklore.
This Nordic area is just beautiful, and like I've said before in other videos, the Nordic area is perfect for Sasquatch activity. There's so many
strange leaf structures found at a waterfall, woven, stacked deliberately, are described in quiet detail. Not something left by weather or chance. Just beyond that, another form of human disregard is noted: used toilet paper, discarded by hikers too careless to bury their waste. Nature, beautiful as it is so, carries the scars of both mystery and neglect.
So I'm finally down near the river. I'm not exactly at the area I camped in before, but I just wanted to stop and make a point of something when I'm like recreating in the backcountry.
Approaching the river, familiar ground returns. The terrain opens into gravel flats and eroded cliffs, revealing hoodoo formations sculpted over millennia. The wind stirs across the valley, washing over scenes that feel untouched and yet unnervingly watched. Wildlife signs are present: elk tracks, droppings, but no bears, no predators, not yet. The investigator travels light, relying only on bear spray for defense. The silence deepens. In tall willow groves, the trail turns thick and muddy, the kind of place where visibility vanishes and every step could be your last.
Continuing along the trail, I'm in this really weird willow area, and the trail is super muddy, and it's kind of a pain to get through, but...
As the trail narrows and the daylight begins to fade, the tension grows quietly. Then, without warning, a large impression in the earth appears. Faint, but unmistakable. Not a fresh print, but old and wide, with pine needles settled inside. There's no defined heel or toe, just a shallow midsection, a ridge along the middle that matches what some researchers call the mid-tarsal break.
Just coming down the trail from that way, going this way, and there's an impression here in the ground. Now, if you look at it...
In Bigfoot research, that subtle curve is significant. It's a biomechanical anomaly tied to how these creatures are believed to walk. Yet here, skepticism balances the excitement. Could it be from another hiker? Possibly, but why only one? And why so large? Watch yourself.
You know, in the Bigfoot world, we call that the mid-tarsal break. Ooh, the legendary mid-tarsal break.
As he inspects the print, note the careful pacing, the way the muddy trail silently holds its secrets. This part of the Nordic region, near the David Thompson Highway, has long been a magnet for unexplained events.
And you can see whatever it is was heavy enough or slid enough to kind of push the dirt up. You know, it kind of squished it up about an inch, a little more than an inch.
From the Bighorn Dam sightings in the 60s to more obscure rock-throwing incidents near local waterfalls, the forest seems to breathe with stories. And it's here, far from roads and behind layers of wilderness, that encounters most often occur. One track, strange lights, unsettling stillness, all hint at something not fully understood. Watch for yourself.
A Sasquatch being actually making one of these structures, you know, what can we say, really? We need to see that happen. We need to get it on video. We need to get photographs of it. We need to get some sort of evidence.
In a landscape this vast, it's easy to be watched without knowing, and harder still to prove what's out there. So the mystery remains. Not confirmed, not denied, just waiting. What's leaving these impressions? Who or what is moving through these valleys under cover of night? The answers may lie just beyond the next bend. The footage begins without warning. A narrow dirt road stretches deep into Idaho's backcountry. No other vehicles, no distant voices. Just the crunch of tires over gravel, the hum of solitude.
About 6 miles before my final destination, I run upon a Forest Service outpost, and the sign before it is a good sign.
And the creeping sense that something out here is watching. This wasn't just a casual trip. He had studied the region thoroughly, identifying it as a possible Bigfoot habitat due to its isolation and lack of human interference. Meadows, streams, and old-growth forests surrounded the area.
And since I've become a Bigfoot guy, I take an audio recorder and I put an audio recorder out every night whenever I go camping.
Far removed from any main roads or camping traffic. Vanni, the goal was clear: find evidence. And he came prepared. He brought an audio recorder, strategically placed it 3 miles into the wilderness, and then returned to camp, hoping to entice something or someone to follow him back. Watch yourself.
Yeah, this stuff's tall. Tall as I am. Taller.
In this segment, he sets up his camp near a quiet stream and explains the plan. Record potential sounds and activity overnight while documenting everything on camera. The area is still and heavy with silence, perfect conditions for any large creature to go unnoticed. As evening falls, the forest begins to change.
Just to say, hey, this is what I saw. I'm so bummed. So as far as the description goes, seeing it and thinking about it, I remember seeing something similar to it online like 5 or 6 years ago or something.
Light fades quickly, the wind calms, and the atmosphere grows tense. The camper starts a fire, surrounded by towering trees and distant rustles. But what starts as a peaceful night quickly turns into something else. He begins hearing movement from the tree line, not loud but unmistakable. A steady shifting, deliberate and heavy, just out of sight to his left. This was no deer. Watch yourself.
And I grab my memory card, I put my memory card in, I get back out, bring it up, and of course, it's gone. It's not there. Yeah, and I scan everywhere, and this is me scanning everywhere, and I'm shaking. You can see how bad I'm shaking. I am just shaking because this is so crazy, but I mean, I don't see anything.
He grabs his newly purchased night vision goggles, still fresh from the box. In a moment of pure tension, he fumbles with the batteries, hands shaking slightly as the sounds from the trees continue. When he finally gets the goggles powered on, he scans the darkness. And there it was, something tall, standing upright, staring tech. At first it didn't move. Then, slowly, it began to lean.
Okay, this is way lower, but I'm doing live video far away with the video camera, and then I'm also doing a test. Count my steps from here. 1, 2.
Not a sway, a deliberate sideways lean, further than any normal person could go. It straightened up, then leaned again, opposite direction. Back and forth, not rocking, but bending, watching. The figure's proportions and movement didn't align with any known animal. The bending was fluid, but too deep, unnatural. The camper's internal instincts were screaming, "This isn't human," yet his eyes confirmed it was there. Watch yourself.
At night from the night vision camera, and this is the daytime recreation. And it's not exactly the same, but you know, it's pretty close. This leaning tree's there, this leaning tree's there. My recollection is, you know, it was about probably this head branch tall, you know, which is this over here.
Through the night vision lens, he could see the figure's dark outline, faintly illuminated in infrared. It stood motionless between each lean, as if trying to study him without approaching. The behavior matched numerous eyewitness reports describing Bigfoot's so-called swaying behavior. Though in this case, the creature wasn't swaying, but leaning, peering, evaluating.
But it looks a little different during the daytime. A little bit different angle. I might have been taller here to my eyes versus on the tripod here. So I had two cameras rolling at the same time. This side is, you know, just what it looks like with your own eyes, you know, the camera not zoomed in.
The encounter lasted long enough to leave a permanent mark on the camper's memory. There was no charge, no sound, no aggressive gesture, just presence. A silent, towering figure moving in a way that defied logic. Was it curiosity that brought the figure so close? Was it following his trail from the recorder site exactly as he'd planned?
Okay, this is where I first go, is the farthest way it probably is. It's probably right there. I go to where that tree's leaning over, and then I come back a little closer. I think I come back too close here. And you can see the difference in both.
Or had he trespassed into territory rarely disturbed, and the creature was simply observing? No answers came that night. But the footage, the reaction, and the sequence of events, recorded and documented, add to a growing body of eerily similar encounters. And so, the mystery deepens. What exactly is watching from the woods? In the remote stillness of Harwood Forest, Northumberland, one man set out to spend a solitary night under the dense canopy of an ancient woodland. Known for its moody atmosphere and rich history, Harwood has long been a magnet for hikers, campers, and those seeking silence. But on this night, something else stirred beneath the pine-covered slopes.
Welcome back to the channel, Mandingos. Today I'm out by myself. Unfortunately, little Mick can't make it. I called for him this morning, I knocked on his door, and his dad said he's been up all night ill. So, you're going to have to put up with me, by myself today. This is where I'm at.
The journey began at Winter's Gibbet, a bleak and windswept location tied to one of Northumberland's darker historical episodes. The wooden structure, perched against a backdrop of gray skies, marks the execution site of William Winter in 1792, an ominous choice for a starting point.
So I'll have to be careful where I set up. Should be great. Anyway, first we're going to check out a little bit of history over there. Let's go. See you in a sec.
But for the host of the Blot Outdoors show, it was all part of the experience. He hiked deeper into Harwood Forest, carefully selecting a clearing to pitch his tent. The surroundings were quiet, almost unnervingly so. Only the wind sifting through the trees and the occasional call of a distant bird broke the silence.
I've just been sitting quiet, drinking me can, and I can't hear a thing. So, I think I'm just far enough away from them. Hopefully they don't start messing about later on.
As dusk settled, he prepared his evening meal, a couple of burgers, 2 Cornish pasties, and other simple comforts. Spirits were high, and plans were in place to enjoy the night, including a whiskey tasting. But as daylight faded, so did the calm. The first sign that something was off came quietly. 2 Cornish pasties were missing, then some meat.
And I'm going to eat well tonight, Mandingos. I've got the usual chorizo, peppered salami. I've got myself a couple of Cornish pasties.
At first, the explanation seemed simple, perhaps careless placement or animals. But the food had been inside the camp area, seemingly undisturbed by wildlife. He had passed a group of young campers earlier in the day. Suspicion pointed there, though no confrontation took place. As darkness fell, the mood changed. Watch yourself.
I'll know there's a better spot. We'll have a mooch about and we'll see what's about.
Low tapping sounds began to echo just outside the tent. Not a branch falling, not the breeze. Deliberate, close. The kind of sound that suggests intent. Then silence, that heavy, watching kind. The camera captures the moment clearly. Tense breathing, hesitation, and then a decision to unzip the tent and look.
To be honest, everywhere I've seen so far is no better than what we've already got. I'll go up a little bit further here.
A flashlight sweeps the darkness, catching only swaying trees and empty ground. No eye shine, no movement, but the feeling of being watched lingers. Later, a clearer explanation surfaces. The host's close friend, known to viewers as Little Mick, emerges from the shadows, revealing that he had followed the expedition in secret, intending to play a prank. Dressed in a makeshift costume,
do you know what I mean? I've been shiting myself all night in the woods here, and it's Little Mick all the time, taking the piss out of us.
He'd staged the eerie tapping and stolen the food, mimicking the signs often reported in alleged Bigfoot encounters. Watch yourself.
Can't even find your tent. You got the f there. What the f is this? It's me fucking... Now, man. It's f***ing strange. Sorry for the language, guys. 2 Cornish pasties and meat's gone. I mustn't like peppered salami, that's still there.
Laughter follows. Tension dissolves. But what remains is a striking demonstration of how easily the human mind, even in control, can be pushed toward uncertainty in the forest's isolation. In the final segment, the two sit beside a low-burning fire, reviewing the Woodsman blended Scotch whiskey. The taste, bold, oaky, with a smooth finish. Rated a firm 8.5 out of 10.
You smell like a toffee vanilla smell.
Aye. Vanilla.
Anyway, that's enough of the sniffing. Let's go on with the tasting. Rights.
But the experience of the night, both real and orchestrated, left a lasting impression beyond the campfire glow. Harwood Forest is no stranger to legends. From local folk tales to unexplained sightings, its dense tree lines and hushed clearings provide fertile ground for mystery. Though this encounter was ultimately explained, it raises a larger question. How often do we dismiss strange happenings as jokes, pranks, or tricks when they might not be? Watch for yourself.
Hi folks, I know I'm being silly. Just, you know, when you're in the woods or something like that and you get that horrible feeling you're not by yourself. That's what I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the tent now. We'll continue the Wasky review in the tent. That way I'll feel a bit safer. I know I'm just being daft, but anyway, let's go in the tent and we'll do the Wasky review there. You know, makes sense.
What if no one had revealed themselves? And how many so-called hoaxes have left behind traces that still defy explanation? In the wild, even laughter can leave shadows.
Why, it looks like a Sasquatch, Mick. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, as you can tell, we've had a good time.
In the deep woods of southern Illinois, near the edge of the Shawnee National Forest, Red Room Films documents an investigation tied to one of the region's lesser-known legends, the Pond Creek Monster. This is an area layered in folklore, where dense forest, steep hills, and scattered rural homesteads form a perfect backdrop for the unexplained. But here, the stories are not just old tales, they're still unfolding. The documentary opens with an on-site interview. A local resident, calm but clearly unsettled, recounts a moment that changed how he viewed the woods behind his home. Watch yourself as he stands near a gently sloping ridge. From his position, he gestures toward the crest of a hill where, 1 year earlier, he spotted a figure crouched low to the ground.
I saw something that had its back to me down like this and was like digging into the hill.
Yeah.
And like throwing its arm back. And when it threw its arm back, that's what caught my attention. Because I saw this long arm, like take my arm and add another half of an arm.
What'd you think it was at first? Like when you first saw it?
When I first saw it, I'm just like...
Like were you thinking Bigfoot when you saw it, or?
At first I was like, what is that?
The creature appeared to be digging or pulling at the earth. Its arm, long and unnaturally fluid in motion, swung backward in a way that caught his attention. Even from 50 to 60 yards out, the proportions seemed off, longer than human, heavier, dark in color. He couldn't identify it at first. It didn't register as a known animal. Only later, after considering the motion, the posture, and the size, did he start to question whether it could have been a Sasquatch. Months later, the growth around the ridge has thickened. Rain and time have softened the earth, but the memory remains vivid. The investigation continues deeper into the property. Watch yourself as attention shifts to a tree roughly 10 to 12 feet tall, showing a strange sign, more than just a break.
Somewhere in here, now, like I said, it's been a year, all the rain, you know, a lot more growth now, but about, say, 10, I'm gonna say a good 10 feet, maybe 12 at the most. One of these trees had a break, but it wasn't just a break. It was twisted. And I mean, I'm no Bigfoot researcher, famous person, nothing like that, but I do pay attention to posts and things I see.
The wood has been twisted, not snapped clean, and the fibers splinter outward in a spiral. This isn't typical of storm damage or decay. While the eyewitness admits he isn't a Bigfoot expert, he's familiar with reports of such signs being interpreted as territorial markers or warnings in Sasquatch research circles. Later in the documentary, they find signs of recent ground disturbance near a wooded clearing. Watch yourself as they examine what looks like the result of rooting, similar to what a hog might cause.
Bryce noticed this. It looks like a hog, what you would think a hog is digging up. There are no hogs around here.
No, I've never heard of hogs in Southern Illinois.
Here, but I don't ever remember seeing a deer dig like that.
Does that look like big toe and toe prints and all that right there to you in there?
I mean,
maybe.
But here's the issue. No one in the area keeps hogs, and wild hogs are not reported in this part of southern Illinois. The gouged earth lacks the pattern of deer activity as well. What draws their focus is the faint outline pressed into the soil, possibly a footprint. It's not clear or sharply defined, but certain shapes stand out. A broad pad, subtle toe impressions. Nothing conclusive, but enough to raise questions. When viewed from an angle, the formation of what might be a large toe becomes more convincing. Still, it's subtle, just enough to keep the possibility alive. Behind the camera, the terrain remains quiet, but those interviewed speak of persistent whoops at night, tree knocks echoing through the woods, and uneasy moments when they've felt watched from beyond the tree line. The Shawnee National Forest has long been a place of mystery. Known for ancient rock formations and deep natural corridors, it offers seclusion and silence, the kind that can both shelter and conceal. In places like this, where the veil between the known and unknown grows thin, even a passing sound can take on weight. Could the creature seen that day have been the elusive Pond Creek monster? Rooted in old legends but now backed by first-hand encounters and unexplained signs? Or is southern Illinois hiding something older, something not yet defined? The forest doesn't answer directly, but the evidence lingers in the broken trees, the disturbed earth, and the quiet tension that never fully lifts. By late evening, the mountain cold had settled across the dense forests of British Columbia's Chilliwack River Valley. The last rays of daylight faded behind the ridgelines, casting long shadows through the timber. Alone, miles from the nearest camp, the creator of adventures in BC had just zipped into his tent for the night. It was around 11 p.m. when the stillness was broken. First came the sound of heavy footfalls, slow, deliberate, and distinctly bipedal. Not the shuffle of a bear, nor the skitter of a deer. These steps moved upright, circling the tent with unnerving calm. Then came a new sound, a faint impact. Something had disturbed the carefully balanced rock stack beside his tent. Only the topmost stone had been knocked down, 4 feet off the ground. The rest of the structure remained untouched. Watch yourself as the moment of realization hits. He knocked over my rock.
So to hear anything is to let you know something's going on. So here we are. There's our, as you see, they're still standing.
The pattern was too precise to be coincidence. Moments later, 3 clear knocks echoed through the trees. Measured, intentional, as if marking presence. By morning, daylight revealed the details in full. The rock stack was still standing, except for that top stone. A stone that had to be touched with purpose to fall without toppling the rest. Watch yourself to see the stacked stones.
Now, this is the rock statue, the balanced rocks that we're talking about. This rock was knocked off of here. Give you some idea how high this is. This is perched on a large boulder.
Perched on a large boulder, the top reached chest height. The rocks were solid, their balance stable. Not easily disturbed by wind or small animals, and far too precise to have fallen on their own. The ground nearby, hard-packed gravel, should have masked any subtle tracks. But there they were, impressions that matched a human stride, but were far too large. A heel, 5 toes, roughly size 15. Watch yourself to examine the print in detail.
Do we see that? Do you see that? Because that is my foot. I'm a size 12. Hey, look here. We have a heel, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes. This looks like a left foot imprint.
Beside his own size 12 foot, the print stood out. A left foot impression, with all 5 toes visible, roughly 15 to 16 inches in length. Not deep enough to cast, but visible enough to measure. He followed the direction of the prints through the underbrush. Something had circled his tent, not once, but completely around. Through thick nettles and brush no person would casually wander into. Each step matched an upright stride. From the slope to the flat ground, the prints told a story. Something walked right up to the tent, knocked the top rock, and kept moving. No crashing, no fleeing. It lingered, observed. As he stood at the edge of his camp, he pieced it together. While lying down, the noise had come from right behind his head, exactly where the rock stack had been placed. Whatever approached had done so silently, except for the calculated knocks and the fall of one single stone. This wasn't a bear. Bears don't knock, and they certainly don't remove just one stone from a structure without disturbing the rest. Watch yourself as he retraces the path.
But this is where we're at, back in here. This is where he came, this is where whatever was walking came through here. Now, this is hard to see. That is quite definitive. I'm no expert, but what I heard was something bipedal.
The second night, despite the tension, he remained. And again, the knocking returned. Faint, from within the trees. Then silence. No other campers were near. The nearest people were 5 kilometers down the road. He was utterly alone, save for whatever had passed by his tent. Yet, he wasn't panicked. He stayed, observed, documented. In the final shots, we see the vast remoteness of his location. Deep forest, no lights, no traffic, just wilderness. He describes the Chilliwack River Valley as infamous for sightings, stories of creatures unknown, especially ones that walk at night. So what walked those bipedal steps under cover of night? What removed the top stone without tipping the rest? What knocked 3 times before disappearing into the trees? There are no answers here, only questions that linger like the echo of footsteps outside a tent, alone, in the wild. It was meant to track a different predator. In the remote wilderness of Alberta, Canada, a trail camera was quietly placed, programmed to study the movement and behavior of wolverines, agile, elusive, and rarely seen. But what it caught instead was something no wildlife researcher expected. 105 seconds of footage, a single moment of the unexplainable. Preserved by lens and chance, the video begins in silence. The forest is thick, quiet, and unmoving. Nothing stirs except the swaying of distant branches. Then, with near imperceptible motion, a massive figure begins to take shape from the landscape itself. Camouflaged against the trunk of a pine, it had been standing completely still, its hair blending perfectly with bark, its posture rigid, calculating. This is not mistaken identity. This is deliberate concealment. Watch yourself. It steps forward cautiously. The body is fully upright. Its frame is broad and imposing, easily measuring between 6 and 7 feet in height. Muscles ripple beneath thick black hair as it moves across the forest floor with quiet purpose. It does not glance at the camera. Its eyes are focused elsewhere, likely prey. At that moment, the camera, designed for wolverines, accidentally captures a high-definition study in predation. What's most shocking isn't just the creature's appearance, it's the intelligence behind its behavior. This being was not simply passing through. I watched it, hidden in plain sight. Every motion, every breath seemed synchronized with the sway of the forest around it, as if it had learned through generations how to disappear without vanishing. Sonny Vator's video has since sparked serious interest among seasoned trackers and wildlife experts. The background matching technique displayed, intentional blending into the environment, is not a known behavior of any North American animal aside from humans. So the question remains, who or what adapts like this in the wild? And how many more trail cameras might hold secrets still buried in digital files, waiting for someone to look again? If you've ever set a trail cam and caught something you can't explain, now is the time. Come forward, tell your story. It began with a view of calm. the kind of stillness only a high mountain lake can offer. A lone hiker had set out that spring morning in Payson Canyon, Utah, capturing the quiet beauty of nature. The glint of water between the trees, the soft bend of branches swaying in the breeze. His camera drifted gently across the lake's surface, recording a moment of peace. But then, something shifted. The camera jolted, swinging away from the shoreline and toward the tree line. Something was there. In the blur of motion, what emerges is impossible to ignore. A tall, black figure standing upright among the pines. It does not flinch or flee. It simply stands, as if observing. Between 6 and 7 feet tall, covered in dark, heavy hair, it blends unnaturally well into the forest. The footage, zoomed and stabilized by the Paranormal Review, reveals what appears to be a creature unlike anything native to the region. The camera catches it mid-step, arms swinging low with weight, as if it had been caught just before vanishing deeper into the trees. The man who took this footage never meant for it to go public. He captured it in the spring of 2015 while hiking alone through Payson Canyon in central Utah. For years he kept the clip buried, afraid of ridicule or disbelief. It wasn't until nearly a decade later that he passed it on to the Paranormal Review, hoping someone else might see what he saw that day. Something not supposed to exist. In the early seconds, the camera pans nervously. There's no narration, no commentary, just the thud of stones tumbling and the wind in the trees. Then, stabilized and enhanced, the footage locks onto the shape. Towering between 6 and 7 feet tall, the creature stands with its back partially turned, its limbs long and its body blanketed in thick black hair. It appears to be moving with purpose, neither fleeing nor hiding, but roaming, almost patrolling. Watch yourself. Despite the digital improvements, the footage remains raw. The figure doesn't blur like a man in a costume. It shifts weight with natural heaviness. Its gait is grounded, deliberate. When it turns slightly, a subtle glint reveals a sunlit patch on its shoulder, showing depth and motion impossible to fake. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, it vanishes behind a patch of dense timber. The rocks have stopped falling. The silence returns. But what remains is a recording that continues to challenge the boundaries of belief. Springtime in Payson Canyon reveals much, but for one hiker it revealed too much. If you've been holding on to footage, unsure of what to do with it, maybe now's the time. Share it. The forest doesn't lie, but silence might. High above the tree line, where the silence is as vast as the sky itself, two men found themselves alone on the slopes of Mount St. Helens. Their camera had been trained on the sweeping horizon, filming the wide-open volcanic terrain. But what they captured was not just geological beauty. It was something altogether unexplainable. From a distance, beyond the reach of ordinary hikers, a dark figure moved across the barren stretch. At first glance, it seemed out of place, too large, too fluid, and far too distinct against the ashen backdrop of the mountain. Despite the incredible distance, the form stood out sharply. Tall, broad, and cloaked in black, the silhouette appeared to be walking upright with long, deliberate strides. It had no gear, no tools, and no reason to be there. Watch closely. Uploaded by Bigfoot. Believers only, the video has become a quiet sensation among those who study the unexplained. The terrain where the figure walks is isolated and treacherous. No casual wanderer would venture there. And yet the way the figure navigates the uneven slope suggests confidence and familiarity. The men behind the camera remain silent, their disbelief louder than words. They zoom in shakily, and for a moment, the creature comes into sharper focus.
Hey, there's something down there. You see that in the clearing?
Oh, yeah.
See the stride. The scale is hard to process until one notices the trees and rock formations nearby. Only then does the size of the figure become clear. This being is massive, between 7 and 8 feet tall and still distinguishable from so far away. It seems to dominate the landscape, even at a distance. It moves for only a short time before slipping behind a rocky outcrop. Then it is gone. Mount St. Helens holds many secrets beneath its slopes. Some are geological, others historical, but a few like this remain rooted in mystery. If you've captured something unexplainable on camera, don't leave it buried. Share what you've seen. Let the mountain speak. Re-watch the final moments. It began on the 8th of July, 2012, deep within the Sierra Nevada wilderness, near the quiet settlement of Clipper Mills, California. Hidden between the thick trunks of pine and cedar, a sound rose that has haunted all who've heard it since. A sound not meant for human ears. What was captured that night is now known as the longest sustained Bigfoot vocalization ever recorded. It was raw, guttural, and stretched out in intervals no man or beast has ever matched. This was not just a cry, it was a declaration.
It's crazy.
Not a bear.
That's no dog.
It's a bear.
I think it's a bear.
Listen closely. Posted by the YouTube channel Big Toe Time, the audio was captured during a backwoods expedition. The recorder had been placed with the intent to monitor local wildlife. But what it caught that night was not bear, coyote, or mountain lion. It was something else, something intelligent, something alive with power. The screams continue, sometimes distant, then suddenly close, shaking the very leaves above the mic. Patterns begin to emerge, repetitions, a kind of rhythm that seems deliberate, not chaotic.
This dog's right over there. Whatever it is over there. There's a bunch of them. They're talking, they're just communicating. Yeah, there's one back there too, like earlier.
Yeah, that's not a dog bark.
You can hear the dog barking amongst these howls.
As the minutes pass, the cries don't weaken, they intensify. There is pacing now. Movement. What began as isolated yells grows into an eerie performance of dominance or distress. At one point, two distinct vocalizations overlap, suggesting that more than one creature may have been present. And still not a single human voice can be heard. 15 minutes of edited audio, 20 minutes experienced live. Near the end, the vocalizations fade, not with exhaustion, but with an unsettling quiet. The forest falls still again. Whatever was out there had made its presence known, and then vanished into the tree line.
Shut up. Can't stay. Penny, stop.
For the chilling final echo, if these are the cries of a creature not yet understood, then the Sierras may hold more than mere wildlife. They may hold witnesses to a hidden chapter of evolution, heard but still unseen. Are you listening? Are you ready to believe? Then don't just hear it, feel it. The truth may still be echoing. There are places where the wild flows too freely to be tamed, where the rivers carve their truth into the land, and something ancient watches from the shadows. Just beyond Calgary, Alberta, at the quiet edge of a riverbank, the impossible revealed itself one overcast afternoon. A casual walk turned to silence when movement in the distance caught the attention of two people filming for their channel, Fox RF600. What they captured in that brief moment became one of the most chilling Bigfoot clips recorded on Canadian soil. Before the camera was fully trained on the figure, it had already moved, taking just a few calculated steps, pausing, and then crouching low into the brush, as if it knew it was being watched.
That's not human. It's not a human.
See the moment it turns. The video is brief, but every frame tells more than words ever could. A bulky, dark shape against the pale earth, covered head to toe in thick black hair. What makes the encounter unforgettable is not just the figure's presence, but its motion. It looks back, not in panic, not in confusion, but in awareness, recognition.
It's here at first, but not. That is not a human.
Watch the eyes lock. One of the witnesses, barely whispering, can be heard saying, "That's not a human." And they're right. The proportions are off. The head too wide, the face undefined, yet far from expressionless. The way it crouches suggests it knows the river trail. It is not lost. It is not out of place. Then the forest reclaims it. The figure sinks into the natural camouflage, leaving no sound, no sign, only the digital trace of its presence.
That is not a human.
Witness the final disappearance. If real, what stood there at the river's edge was something far older than any trail map. Something that watches us from between the trees and knows exactly when to vanish. The question is not what it was, but who saw it. And the answer, caught forever on this recording, is simple. We all did. Are you ready to face what waits beyond the last bend in the river? Deep in Florida's Everglades waterways, locals have believed for a very long time in something that doesn't belong there. A creature they call the skunk ape. In the early 2000s, brief video showed what many believe is this legendary being, moving with surprising speed through terrain that seems like it would challenge even the most experienced sportsman. The video begins with a peaceful swamp scene, birds calling, insects buzzing in the humid air. Then movement catches the eye, something large pushing through the dense vegetation across a small waterway. For just 14 seconds, we glimpse a massive hair-covered figure with reddish-brown fur, moving with purpose before disappearing into the maze of mangroves and saw palmetto. What immediately stands out is the creature's adaptation to this environment, suggests wildlife biologist Dr. Samantha Wolf. The long arms, the hunched posture, these would be advantageous adaptations for navigating swampland. It moves through terrain that would leave most humans floundering. The video's shortness is both its strength and weakness. While too short for a detailed inquiry, it also seems to lack the proper staging, which is common in fake videos. The creature's movements seem to be natural. Its body and proportions seem consistent with reported sightings dating back to the 1940s. Dave Sheely, who is a longtime skunk ape researcher that operates a small museum fully devoted to the creature, has spent decades tracking these sightings. People think the Everglades is this managed, understood ecosystem, but there's still over 1 million acres of virtually impenetrable wilderness here. The water makes tracking nearly impossible. Footprints disappear almost instantly. The Florida swamps are the perfect habitat for such a creature. Remote, wet, and impossible to locate easily. But this thing moves through it without any effort. One can comment how it differs from the Bigfoot creature, which is equally unknown, in its reported odor, an overwhelming smell of methane and decay that has given the creature its name. Witnesses describe a smell so strong it causes physical discomfort, often detected minutes before and after sightings. That smell ain't something you forget, explains Marcus Thibodeau, who is an airboat operator who claims 3 encounters over 30 years. Like something died, but mixed with rotten eggs. Strong enough to make your eyes water. Always smelled it before I saw anything. Biologists believe that if such a creature exists, the odor might be for reasons other than just making you uncomfortable, perhaps stopping predators from tracking them or marking their territory. Others suggest it could be the result of a diet heavy in carrion or from bacteria in the creature's fur adapted to the humid environment. The footage, although it does not suggest much, captures something moving with actual purpose and familiarity through one of North America's most challenging environments. Whether undiscovered predator, misidentified bear, or elaborate fraud, the skunk ape remains a part of Florida's cultural identity. A reminder that even in our most developed state, wilderness and mystery exist in the spaces between civilization.
Exploring with Angelo is a YouTube channel famous for diving headfirst into abandoned and haunted locations that many would never dare to step foot in alone. In his video titled Very Scary Solo Camping in Skinwalker Canyon, something wasn't right. Angelo ventures solo into a desolate canyon in the American West. From the first few minutes, there's something unsettling about the place. The wind moves through with a low hum.
I just heard the weirdest noise down there. Whoa, look at these frickin' rocks. That is so cool. Dude, it almost doesn't even look real.
And the silence between gusts is thick and unnatural. As Angelo surveys the rocky terrain, he points out a small sign warning about rattlesnakes in the area. Just another layer of danger added to an already isolating location. Nearby sits a single, weather-worn picnic bench, completely out of place in the wild emptiness of the canyon.
Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. There's like boulders and stuff down.
As he walks around, the land dips into strange formations, massive boulders jutting out like ancient bones of the earth.
Something was just like tapping on the glass.
He pauses when he hears something faint, a sound that doesn't match the rhythm of the wind. There's nothing visible, but something about the acoustics in this canyon makes everything sound closer than it should. These opening moments give the strong impression that this isn't just a quiet night in the desert. This place holds secrets buried in silence.
I swear, some of these places out here in the west, it's like we're in Mars or something. It's pretty amazing. I don't know what's down there, but I guess we could go like down in that area.
It feels like stepping into another planet. A jagged Mars-like landscape, too vast and barren to feel safe.
It's like literally like almost Mars or some other planet. I don't even know. Maybe Uranus? I have no idea.
Something out here is watching. Observe this moment. Night approaches fast. Angelo had planned to continue driving, but the growing darkness and the strangeness of the landscape convince him to camp for the night.
I think I might set up camp here. I don't think there's a point in really leaving. I hope whatever's out here, I do hope we actually catch.
He sets up his gear and powers on Spirit Talker, a device often used in paranormal investigations to receive supposed real-time messages from spirits. He doesn't know much about the canyon.
Just continue on my drive tomorrow. I'm gonna actually get Spirit Talker running, because we don't really know what the hell is out here.
Only rumors, eerie tales, and unsettling comparisons to other high strangeness locations. As he gets his flashlight ready, a sense of vulnerability creeps in. The open desert around him provides no shelter, and the shadows stretch endlessly between jagged rock faces and the loose gravel underfoot. The wind continues howling, stronger now.
We're hearing stories of some creature-esque type thing, and we want to know what that creature-esque type thing might be.
And every gust seems to bring with it the possibility of something more, something not quite animal, not quite explainable. He decides to walk further into the canyon, navigating by flashlight, aware that any wrong step could land him on a snake, or worse. The deeper he goes, the more surreal the landscape becomes. He comments on how everything looks so unnatural.
Right now, it's very odd because the last place it actually said piano.
Need time.
Towering stone formations that resemble ruins from another world. His Spirit Talker begins throwing out strange words. Associated, then Virginia, making it feel like he's being toyed with, as if something knows he's there.
Associated.
You're associated to what? So what if, like, my kind of idea is that, like...
He pauses often, looking over his shoulder. Something flashes in the corner of his eye. Just movement, quick, far, and low. The isolation is overwhelming, yet he keeps going, driven by the need to understand what truly haunts this desert. Experience the descent.
Cut.
Cut what?
What follows is even more bizarre. While navigating through uneven terrain and cracked stone formations, Angelo comes across a boulder that has been split clean in half, as if it were deliberately cracked not by nature, but by something else. He stumbles slightly as the ground shifts beneath him, revealing a bleached white object protruding from the soil. Upon closer inspection, it becomes clear. It's a bone.
What am I looking at right now? That is really weird. I don't know what that is. It looks like a skull of some sort. It has to be.
Not just any bone, but what appears to be a partial skull with vertebrae still attached. He crouches in disbelief. Out here, so far from civilization, this is not something you'd expect to find by accident. The shape, the condition, everything about it is wrong. It's not fresh, but it's not ancient either. The presence of this remains stirs something in the air. The canyon feels like it holds its breath. The deeper he explores, the less it feels like a camping trip and more like an initiation into something eerie and ancient. Rocks begin to resemble faces in the flicker of flashlight beams.
Places I've ever investigated before. Yeah, there's literally something sticking out of that. Oh my god, oh, that was a bird.
A strange buzzing in his ears rises, though the wind never changes pace. It's as if the canyon is whispering just below the range of human hearing. As he stands over the bones, a sharp chill hits him. Not from the air, but something internal, as if the energy of the canyon has passed through him. The direction he saw the strange shape earlier seems to line up with where he now stands, near the broken rocks and mysterious remains. His voice becomes quieter, more cautious. Something is very wrong here. See this chilling discovery unfold.
12 years ago, what began as a sweet camping trip in Utah's scenic Provo Canyon turned into one of the most unsettling encounters ever caught on camera. The area, nestled between Squaw Peak and the Little Rock Canyon overlook, is known for its remote beauty. But it's also known for something else: strange sightings. And this one? It's unforgettable. The footage begins when the man holding the camera lifts it slowly, almost without realizing what he's about to see. That's when it happens.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Through the branches, in the distance, something dark is moving, barely visible at first. Black, broad, still. Hidden behind the thick forest growth. The couple freezes, confused, uncertain. The man whispers to his girlfriend, "Do you think it's a bear?" His voice is unsteady, trying to make sense of what they're seeing. But then, the figure moves. It stands up, and instantly, that uncertainty becomes pure fear.
Does he think it's a bear? You think there's a bear right next to a deer?
This wasn't a bear. This thing was tall, massive even, clearly bipedal, with arms that swung long and heavy. Its motion was smooth, almost practiced, as it rose to full height among the trees. It didn't crawl, it stood. You can hear the woman gasp. And just like that, they run. No second guessing, no final look. They turn, leave everything behind, and sprint straight to the car. The clip ends as fast as it begins, but what it leaves behind are questions that linger to this day. What did they really see out there? Was it Bigfoot, a trick of the shadows, or something much more real? One thing's for sure. Their fear was real, their panic unmistakable. So we'll ask you, if it were you in that forest, staring down something that big, that fast, and that close, could you handle that situation? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And stay with us, because sometimes it's not just nature watching you. Something else might be hiding in the trees. This footage comes from Lettuce Lake Park, Florida. It begins quietly. The camera is not steady, focused across the lake. At first, it seems like just another nature video. But then, something moves. Behind the trees, partly hidden by the brush, there's a figure, a large one. It's hard to see clearly at first. The trees and distance blur the shape. But then it shifts, and you can tell. This thing is big, covered in thick, dark fur. The way it moves, it almost looks like it's waiting, maybe trying to cross the water. The man behind the camera doesn't speak. He just keeps filming, locked in place. Zooming in reveals more. Long arms, a bulky frame, a towering height that looks well over 8 feet. Is it a person? A hoax? Some kind of animal? Or is it Bigfoot? We don't know, but even after stabilizing the video, the questions remain. Whatever it is, it's not running, it's not hiding. It's just there, moving slowly, confidently, like it's done this before. Some of the most compelling footage isn't caught with high-end cameras or professional setups. Sometimes, the strangest things are captured by accident. And that's exactly what happened here. The following dashcam footage, posted to YouTube, was reportedly filmed in the Republic of Bashkortostan, a remote and rugged region between Russia's Ural Mountains and the Volga River, near the border of Kazakhstan. This is a land steeped in wilderness, thick forests, mountain ranges, and centuries of folklore. But what you're about to see may turn that folklore into something much more real. The video begins like many late-night road clips. A quiet car ride, headlights cutting through the darkness, and a conversation in Russian between the driver and passengers. There's laughter, casual chatter, but something stands out. The word Yeti can be heard a couple of times, as if they were joking, or maybe even hoping to see something. And then, it happens. A blurry shape suddenly darts across the road, right in front of the car, within range of the headlights. It's fast, too fast. The passengers shout in surprise, and the driver hits the brakes. The car jolts to a stop. Just like that, everything changes. The vehicle stalls. The engine cuts out completely. In the dead of night, surrounded by forest and snow, silence takes over. There's a moment, maybe two, of total stillness. Then, the driver restarts the engine. The car inches forward slowly, creeping over where the figure had just passed. You can see the snow disturbed. Whatever crossed the road left tracks. The driver then shifts into reverse, backing up to get a second look. But by now the figure is gone. The road is empty. The woods are quiet again. Too quiet.
Поехали, поехали, нафиг он нужен, блин. Какой это лось, ты видел, как бежит? У тебя как фонарик? Поехали, поехали, потом. Она что, фонарик? Стой, стой, стой. Вот, смотри, вот.
You can hear the uncertainty in their voices, a mix of disbelief, nervous energy, and genuine fear. And who could blame them? Let's talk about what we just saw. The creature crossed the road in less than 2 seconds, and we're not talking about pavement. This is deep, heavy snow, the kind of terrain that slows down even seasoned hikers. No human, no matter how agile, could move through it at that speed. And then there's the size. Even in the dim light, the figure appears tall, upright, and fast. And it moved with a purpose. This wasn't an animal crawling. It wasn't a man trudging. This was something different, something bigger. Could it have been a hoax? A man in a suit? Maybe. But out there, in one of the coldest, most remote parts of Eurasia, who would be running around dressed as a Yeti at night? In a snowstorm? In the middle of nowhere? It makes no sense. And that's exactly what makes this so compelling. The sighting was short, just a few seconds. But those few seconds raise a lifetime of questions. What if this wasn't just a random encounter? What if what we saw was real? A Yeti, a Bigfoot. Legends say these creatures have roamed high altitudes and frozen forests for centuries. But if that's true, what else might be out there? What else is watching, hiding, waiting, in the snowy dark? We'll let you decide. Watch the clip again, slow it down, examine the frame. Look at the stride, the movement, the reaction from the people in the car. Then ask yourself, what did they really see that night in Bashkortostan? And more importantly, what else are we not seeing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, sometimes the scariest things aren't what you go looking for. It's what finds you. September 2023. somewhere deep in the Alberta wilderness. Two hunters set up camp east of Banff Park, along the quiet and remote David Thompson corridor. They weren't expecting anything strange, but one night, something moved near their camp. To be safe, they aimed a trail camera toward the site and left it rolling while they were out, and again through the night. What it recorded raised more questions than answers. A steady, silent shot of the camp. Nothing moves. It's calm, almost too calm. The trees rustle slightly. The fire pit is cold. The tent stands still. Minutes pass. Then, in the upper left corner of the screen, something shifts. It's faint at first, hard to make out, but then it steps closer.
There's something to the right. There's something to the right. Over in here.
A large, dark figure, tall, glowing eyes, and covered in the dark. It doesn't run. It doesn't stumble. It moves like it knows where it's going. And then, it's gone, back into the trees, as if it were never there. No sound, no panic, just a silent appearance and a disappearance. Was it a bear, a prank, or something else entirely? They never saw it with their own eyes, but the camera did. And that brief moment, a figure in the dark caught on tape, is all we have. It may not be proof, but it is something. Something that moved, something that I watched, something that left no trace behind. What you're about to see isn't blurry, it's not shaky, and it's definitely not fake. This footage comes straight from TikTok, filmed by Emmanuel Alfaro, deep in the wooded wilderness of Oklahoma. And what he captured is anything but normal. The video is short, but powerful, crystal clear and to the point. No filters, no special effects, just a phone, and a moment no one could ever prepare for. The clip begins quietly, trees swaying, light filtering through the canopy, when suddenly something strange comes into view. A figure, massive, still, sitting. It's crouched among the trees. At first glance, you might mistake it for a gorilla. But this isn't a zoo, and this creature? It's different. Its fur is thick, red, and tangled. Its build, broad and strong. And its face? That's what truly chills you. Long, unnatural features, deep-set eyes, and an expression that doesn't feel wild. It feels aware. At first, it doesn't seem to notice Emmanuel. It's just there, watching the woods. But then, slowly, it turns. Its eyes meet the lens. There's no time to think. Then, slowly, it turns. Its eyes meet the lens. There's no time to think. Emmanuel runs. The camera shakes. The forest blurs. Panic sets in. But before the image is lost, we get one last look. The creature is still there, still staring, still unafraid. So what did Emmanuel see that day? A man in a suit? A wild animal? Or did he capture a glimpse of something real? One thing's for sure, it didn't run, but he did. Let us know what you think in the comments below. It was October 1967. The dense shadowed woods of Bluff Creek, Northern California, were calm, eerily calm. Two men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, were on horseback, winding through the remote forest trails. They weren't just out for a ride. They were hunting for something most people didn't believe existed. Something huge, something covered in hair. Something people only whispered about. Bigfoot. They had heard stories from local loggers, even cast footprints that were impossible to ignore. But nothing prepared them for what they would soon capture. As they approached a dry riverbed, their horses grew uneasy. And then, just ahead, it appeared. A large bipedal figure, towering, covered in dark matted hair, was walking along the creek bank. Not running, not hiding, walking, like it belonged there, like they were the intruders.
How far away was she when you first saw her?
Just across the creek, about like from here across the creek. When I first saw her, she was standing upright. I thought, you know, this is unreal.
Patterson leapt off his horse, grabbing his camera in a scramble. His hands were shaking, the ground uneven, but he knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime moment. He hit a record. The resulting footage, though shaky, would become legendary. And in the middle of that short, grainy clip, the creature briefly turns its head toward the camera. That single glance would haunt the world for decades. Bob Gimlin was there. He watched it with his own eyes. And in a recent interview in Fresno, he revisits that day. Not to convince anyone, but to tell it like it was. "I know what I saw," he says, quiet but firm. There's no embellishment, no theatrics, just a man reliving a moment that never left him.
Around where I lived, gee whiz, I was a real outcast. And so, and I had a job and all that, you know, and so even, well, the guys that I worked with, they believed in me and stuff, but the other folks didn't, you know, they just said.
He describes the creature's movements, smooth, heavy-footed, and powerful. Its shoulders were broad, its arms swung wide. It wasn't a man. It wasn't a bear. It was something else, something unclassified. Skeptics have picked apart the footage frame by frame, calling it a hoax, a man in a costume, a stunt. But through all the noise, Bob never changed his story. He never cashed in on fame. He simply stood by what he witnessed. And that, maybe, is what makes his account so unsettling. It's not dramatic. It's real. Too real. He speaks softly about the aftermath, how the encounter followed him, not physically but mentally, for years, how some mocked him, how others begged for answers. But Bob didn't chase attention. He stayed quiet for decades because the experience was enough. The Patterson-Gimlin film is just under a minute long, but it's etched into the foundation of cryptozoology. And in that footage, grainy, imperfect, raw, you can feel it. The presence. The weight of something ancient, something to watch. Whether it was a cryptid, an undiscovered primate, or something we'll never understand, Bob Gimlin saw it. And when he says, "I know what I saw," it doesn't sound like a defense. It sounds like a warning.
I know what I saw, and if you've seen the film footage, analyze it and think about it. And don't tell me that they can't exist, and because there's so many people out in the woods all the time that would see one. I'd say, don't even talk to me about that. I said, you know, just think about what you're saying, and if you don't, then that's your ball game.
And so we're left with a question that refuses to go silent. Is Bigfoot merely a legend, born from fear, folklore, and imagination? Or is there something real, something ancient, still roaming our forests, hidden in the shadowed spaces between the trees? What would you do if it wasn't just a story? If you've captured something strange, something you can't explain, send it in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real encounters and chilling evidence from the edge of the unknown. And hit the bell icon so you never miss what the woods might reveal next.
Colorado. Bigfoot is a YouTube channel known for its raw, boots-on-the-ground investigations into the elusive Sasquatch. The channel's host is a seasoned field researcher who has spent years pursuing the mystery in forests across the United States. His passion stems from first-hand encounters and physical evidence, hundreds of tracks, broken structures, and eerie sounds. Each experience driving home the belief that Sasquatch is real. What starts off as a routine tracking session quickly spirals into a tense and fascinating series of encounters. As the sun sets and the forest darkens, the host begins hearing vocalizations, low rumbling sounds and strange chatter only feet away. It's the kind of moment you don't plan for, the kind that's entirely unscripted and raw. The environment feels different, heavier, as if they're not alone anymore. Watch carefully as the camera picks up ambient forest sounds while the tension rises. Listen closely for those distinct knocks and chatter. Watch yourself. As the team presses deeper into the woods, their attention shifts to the countless tree bends and broken structures. What appears at first glance to be fallen branches becomes a clear pattern of snapped and twisted formations. Watch closely as the camera zooms in on one particularly clear track, a toe impression with visible depth and separation from the other toes. Something big walked through here.
I mean, that looks like a footprint to me. Are they separate?
Later into the night, another striking discovery is made. The camera focuses on a full footprint embedded in the soft dirt between fallen leaves. The host explains how the toes are perfectly aligned, the mid-tarsal break is visible, and the depth of the heel confirms significant weight. It's not just one print. There are several leading into and over obstacles, stepping cleanly through brush and over fences. These aren't markings that could be left by a deer or any other common animal.
Fluffed. Someone's been here recently, but it looks like a deer. No, a moose. It's a moose.
He notes the shape, the pressure points, and even the stride length. When zoomed out, the prints align in a straight path, almost like a purposeful trail laid down in silence. Watch yourself.
Moose, you guys. That's not what that was. That back there is not for moose.
As they continue tracking, another footprint emerges, this one clearer than the rest. The team shines light across the ground, revealing a massive impression, 17 inches long, with 5 toes spread out and a deep arch.
It's a foot, so where my foot is, it's 10 inches down from my foot, and it was all dug out.
The camera captures every detail, from the separation of each toe to the distinctive mid-foot curve. The host compares it to his own foot, and the size difference is staggering. The prints snake through the underbrush, each step faint but traceable if you know what to look for. It takes patience, focus, and an understanding of how Sasquatch navigates terrain. Watch yourself. The energy shifts again as more footprints are discovered. Some deep, others faint, but all aligned and telling a story. They piece together a movement pattern.
Right there. Look at the size of that footprint. I get them a lot. They're always right here. I get footprints here all the time.
Revealing not just one creature, but possibly several. The host stresses the importance of reading the land, noting how every twig, every scuff could be part of the larger puzzle. This isn't fantasy. It's a methodical observation. He emphasizes how subtle signs, pressed leaves, twisted branches, the layout of shelters, all contribute to the growing body of evidence that Sasquatch operates with intelligence and purpose. Watch yourself. Evidence continues to mount that this land belongs to something else. There's no deer scat, no signs of common game. The forest is eerily clean. He reiterates that he knows where the local animals live, and this is not their space. But one species might pass through, wolves. He says they could appear at any moment.
It won't be here, but they'll be going through places like that. The wolves are here, and I could bump into them at any minute.
Then the camera finds something again, a new anomaly, a clay-formed mound, maybe a cave. As he zooms in, its shape becomes clearer. This isn't a random pile of dirt or debris. It's molded, protected, and possibly used. At one point, the lens captures what looks like a fossil, something trapped in stone for millennia, possibly a leaf embedded in rock.
Something was fossilized for billions of years. Millions of years. It looks like a leaf, you guys.
It's a final reminder that even when the original path is lost, the forest finds new ways to speak. Watch yourself. 7 moments. 7 different locations. But one single question still echoes after every clip. What exactly is out there? Skeptics call it illusion, misidentification, or worse, pure fantasy. But these recordings? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever had a brush with the unexplained in the woods, we want to hear your story. Subscribe for more raw encounters, and until next time, stay alert, keep your camera rolling, and never hike alone after sundown.
One October afternoon in 1967, 2 friends on horseback with a borrowed camera captured a video that changed the way people viewed the wilderness. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin did not know that they were going to make history when they went to Bluff Creek with a 16mm camera, but what they recorded continues to confuse experts to this day. The video begins like any other, shaky camera work as Patterson dismounts his spooked horse. Then suddenly we see a huge bipedal figure walking confidently across a creek bed. Its body appears to be muscular, covered in dark hair, arms swinging at its side in an unnaturally fluid movement. Most shocking thing is the creature's casual look toward the camera. A moment of acknowledgement that sends chills down viewers' spines even decades later. What makes the Patterson-Gimlin film so compelling isn't just what we see, but how the creature moves, shares cryptozoologist Dr. Jeff Meldrum. The proportions, the broad shoulders, the short neck, the conical head, these aren't characteristics easily faked with 1960s costume technology. Surely the figure's different style of walk, with its easy, flat-footed walk, shows bodily movement that cannot be linked to human beings. The muscle movement visible beneath the hair, especially around the thighs and buttocks, supports the idea that it is actually a being rather than someone wearing a costume. Both Gimlin and Patterson stayed firm until their demise that what they faced was genuine.
October. So Roger said, let's ride back up in some of them areas. We rode up that way, up that creek bed away from our camp, which was probably a couple of miles.
Patterson, who passed away in 1972, never changed his account even in the face of so much scrutiny. Gimlin, who was shying away from the topic, has since become more open, stating, "I know what I saw. I'll never forget that moment. The way it moved wasn't human."
The creature makes a turn, slight turn with its shoulders and kind of looks back. That's when I rode across the creek on the horse. That's when it made that gesture.
What's often overlooked is the context surrounding the film. The men had been investigating reports of massive, unusual footprints in the area for weeks. Local loggers had reported strange instances. Native American traditions had long spoken of wild men of the woods. The film didn't spring just out of thin air. It probably caught what many people had encountered, but had never been able to document. In the slowed down and zoomed in remastered version, we can see the famous look-back moment clearly. It remains the most stable image ever caught on camera of what might be North America's hardest-to-catch inhabitant.
Well, I was looking at it from the back. There are some trees or vegetation that was getting between Roger and the creature, and he wanted to get a better and closer, so he relocated, and when he did, he asked me if I would cover him.
In that short turn of the head, the creature seems to acknowledge its observers before disappearing into the forest, leaving behind footprints, conflicting expert opinions, and a shocking mystery in cryptozoology. Whether you view the Patterson-Gimlin film as firm evidence or an elaborate drama, its impact is undeniable. It transformed Bigfoot from a campfire story to a serious scientific mystery.
Manny Forest Bigfoot Tracker is a YouTube channel famous for over 20 years of dedication in uncovering evidence tied to the Bigfoot phenomenon. His work is raw, personal, and consistently grounded in first-hand exploration. This time, Manny is deep in Colorado Springs.
Hi everyone, Manny Forest again. Colorado Spring Bigfoot Tracker.
Hiking the remote eastern side of North Cheyenne Canyon Park. The area is thick with trees, steep terrain, and remote corners few people ever walk through.
I just came to this new area, right? That I wanted to come for a long time. And the first thing that I get in front of me.
He's not here by chance. He's been eyeing this location for a long time, believing the conditions are perfect for Bigfoot activity. As soon as he steps into the area, Manny stumbles upon something striking, a large, intricate stick structure. It stands out immediately.
To understand how these creatures actually work. They make these amazing structures.
The shape is unusual, almost like a crude star or tangle of angles, clearly not the result of falling branches or wind. The structure looks like it was designed and built with purpose. The way the sticks are wedged, leaning and twisted shows a force beyond randomness.
It's very, very strong. I mean, I don't think not human being.
It's a detail he recognizes from previous encounters in other wilderness areas. The branches are jammed together tightly, some stripped of bark, others snapped in ways that don't occur naturally. Manny takes a moment to study the formation from every angle. It looks symbolic, as if it's meant to be seen. It's not just in the middle of nowhere, it's deep in.
In the middle of nowhere, right? But I don't know if they do it with the whole purpose that maybe someone, someday are going.
Human hikers rarely pass through here, making it less likely to be man-made. And the sturdiness of the structure suggests something strong was behind its creation. Not only does it confirm his suspicions about the location, it also energizes him. It validates 2 decades of experience spent learning to recognize the signs. Take a close look yourself and play here. He's spotted a single clear footprint in the soil. It's wide, deeply pressed, and unmistakable. Measuring about 15 inches long, the toes are fully defined.
But yeah, it's like 15 inches. Have you guys see? Definitely this area is hot.
5, each distinct. The heel digs sharply into the soft ground, suggesting weight and motion. The print leads uphill, following the contour of a ridge. It's not alone. There are faint impressions leading off into thicker brush. The size and clarity of the footprint give him a surge of excitement. It's rare to find a print this complete, especially one this fresh.
Colorado Spring Bigfoot tracker with an amazing find. I just found me this.
Judging by the condition of the soil and absence of leaf debris inside the print, it could have been made the night before. He scans for more prints, noting the way the trackway seems to follow a purposeful path, always upward, always toward denser cover. Don't miss the detail on this remarkable find. Watch yourself and play here. This isn't the first time Manny's found something like this. Over the years, he's learned to distinguish real signs from natural noise. Most people never venture this far out, especially not alone. Manny knows the risks: steep terrain, wildlife, and long distances without cell service. But his dedication goes beyond personal curiosity.
This is just great. I hope you guys like this one, same ways I do. I'm gonna continue my search with Wookie.
It's a lifelong pursuit to document the presence of a creature most people still consider myth. And it's moments like this, finding a clear print after hours of searching, that make it all worth it. The emotional weight of the discovery is obvious. He takes his time with it, studying each toe, the midfoot compression, and the overall dimensions. If it's real, and everything about it suggests it is, then this is strong physical evidence of a bipedal creature moving through the region, far beyond normal human activity zones. He kneels, taking more photos, and reflects quietly. All the years, all the miles, all the solitude, it's all led to moments like this.
I find a very clear print. Probably say that this one should be.
For him, the print isn't just about proof, it's about connection. He sees it as a sign that he's on the right path, literally walking in the steps of something that doesn't want to be found, but might be willing to leave behind traces for those who know where and how to look. A new wave of determination washes over him and he turns uphill, following the general direction the track seems to point toward.
Follow me into all my adventures. I'm not gonna disappoint you guys, I promise. So,
feel the emotion and intensity of the moment. Play this one now. Accompanied by his loyal dog Wookie, Manny continues scouting the surrounding ridgelines. The dog walks slightly ahead, nose twitching, eyes alert. Manny trusts Wookie's instincts. He's been with him on countless treks and always senses things before they're visible. They move along a narrow trail littered with deadfall.
Mookie is been with me today, accompany me. He's my great buddy, my best friend, my best Bigfoot tracker.
Spotting small stick breaks at about 6 to 7 feet off the ground. Some are twisted, others snapped cleanly. These aren't random. The breaks run parallel to the trail and seem to mark a kind of corridor. Whether they're warnings or territorial markers, Manny can't be sure, but he documents them just the same. The pattern fits with what he's observed in similar regions. All the signs are here: structures, footprints, tree breaks. But what's even more interesting is the positioning. Everything is aligned along travel corridors, valleys, ridgelines, and lowland water access points. This kind of layout, in his view, is no coincidence. It shows strategy, possibly even migratory movement. Keep your focus sharp as more physical evidence builds. Watch now.
And this is the evidence. You can see the toes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably 5.
Hellbent Holler is a YouTube channel famous for its tech-driven, boots-on-the-ground investigations into Sasquatch, dogmen, and the paranormal. Led by Joe and Jesse Lee, a dedicated two-person research team based out of the Carolinas, they specialize in exploring the southern Appalachian wilderness, a region steeped in mystery and brimming with reports of strange phenomena.
It seems like a lot of crazy activity has been going on every time we come out here.
Unlike others in the field, their approach combines advanced equipment with an immersive presence in remote, often dangerous terrain. Their fieldwork covers everything from Bigfoot to cryptid creatures like dogmen, as well as odd lights in the forest and unexplained sounds that seem to echo through forgotten places. In their investigation titled The Dogmen of Grove Lake, the team returns to a location where they previously captured signs of possible Sasquatch activity. But this time, the energy in the forest feels different, darker, heavier. Something has shifted. From the start, they document small footprints along the shoreline, impressions that appear disturbingly tiny beside Joe's size 12 boot. These tracks, although not definitive, trigger immediate suspicion that they're dealing with more than one type of entity in this area. They mention having already captured a thermal anomaly of something peeking out from behind a tree during a prior outing.
See it? You see that eye shine? It's looking from behind the tree.
I'm not seeing her shine.
It's looking from behind the tree.
Oh, yeah, I just saw it.
It just went behind the tree.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Not just a shape, but the gleam of eye shine caught in the lens, suggesting an intelligent presence watching them from the shadows. The creature disappears before they can capture more. It becomes clear that they've entered an area where the boundaries between the normal and the unexplained begin to blur. Strange sounds, unshakable feelings of being watched, and subtle tree formations all seem to echo a language written in mystery. You'll want to witness how the environment shifts as they examine the altered forest structures, study the bent trees, and react to the intense silence that blankets the grove.
We keep hearing strange sounds, we keep finding these weird structures, so it seems like it's almost a grab bag of Sasquatch activity.
Watch yourself. The evidence builds here. The forest doesn't just hold secrets, it speaks them, sometimes in the most horrifying ways. One such moment unfolds when the team prepares to track down a scream they heard earlier, not fleeing from it, but walking straight toward it.
Oh my God.
The scream isn't just a loud noise, it's layered, emotional, and hauntingly painful, like something crying out in grief or warning. As they begin navigating through the thicket towards the direction of the wail, the tone of the investigation changes. there's an unspoken understanding that they could be approaching something sentient, possibly territorial, and very real. Armed with a Sony camera and a directional shotgun mic, they push forward, trying to record any further audio evidence. But the deeper they go, the quieter they become, both out of caution and a growing sense that the creature is nearby. As dusk begins to fall, and the sky dims into that brief, eerie phase of twilight, they remind viewers of the word crepuscular, used to describe creatures most active at dawn and dusk.
Just like at the LBL, right at like the edge of night.
Crepuscular is what that's called. Those are creatures that are most active at dusk and dawn.
The timing isn't lost on them. Their surroundings, the energy, even the way the sounds bounce between trees. Everything begins to mirror their past experiences in similarly active hotspots like land between the lakes. The moment is tense and filled with dread as they listen for another cry.
I got the second one.
What the hell was that?
That sounded like a humanoid, not a person, but crying out and crying out.
Each step forward, fueled by equal parts curiosity and instinctual fear. Don't miss the buildup of this critical turning point as it unfolds in real time. Watch closely and listen carefully. With night pressing in, things begin to break down. Joe's thermal imager won't power on at first. A moment of frustration and concern, especially given they've already lost another unit during a previous investigation.
What's wrong?
My thermal's not coming on.
What?
There it goes. I about flipped out.
Yeah. We've already lost one thermal imager
I know.
a couple months ago.
These aren't just gadgets to them, they're lifelines. Once the device finally activates, they decide to take a route toward a beach that eventually connects to a service road. It's quieter there, a more strategic path where they can still observe and listen without being overwhelmed by the terrain. Yet, just as they begin to relax, the calm is broken again. From the darkness, something rumbles. A low, deep growl, not close.
I think that's just natural.
Oh my God.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Talk to me. Talk to me.
Put the camera down. You need to open up Chester right now.
What's going on?
I don't know. I heard something deep over there.
But not far enough to dismiss. It's guttural, heavy, and seems to come from within the forest to their right. Jessie freezes. Joe immediately tells her to stop filming and focus. There's no panic, only a shift in seriousness. The way the sound cuts through the quiet tells them everything. This isn't just an animal. It feels directed, an assertion of presence. Jessie scrambles to open her gear, her hands moving fast but controlled. Joe stands steady, scanning with thermal and watching for movement. The forest falls silent again, but the tension doesn't leave. Instead, it hangs around them like fog, thick and impossible to ignore. They've entered the domain of something watching them closely, and for a moment, everything they know about tracking, about cryptids, and about wilderness safety seems to teeter on the edge of something primal. That sound wasn't casual. It was intentional. And it changed the tone of the night. Don't skip this moment. It's one of the clearest indications that something might be stalking them. Watch the shift in their body language as it happens.
I think that's just natural.
Oh my God.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Talk to me. Talk to me.
Put the camera down. You need to open up Chester right now.
What's going on?
I don't know. I heard something deep over there.
On 2nd February 2004, Michael Lacoma was camping around Fresno, California for the weekend when he caught something unbelievable on his cell phone camera. He shows his campsite, a simple getaway. He comments with peace and quiet.
Here we are once again camping.
Beautiful view. Here's my campsite, simple. It's nice to get away, get some peace and quiet.
That's how this unbelievable 2004 video starts. Shot on an old-school cell phone camera, which was a pretty fancy thing to have in that time, it followed Michael Lacoma, a regular person, just trying to enjoy a weekend alone in the hills outside Fresno, California.
All right, well, you know, I've never seen anything like it. Camping outdoors a lot, and of course I didn't bring my gun like I normally do. But I had my tent set up here.
Michael panned his phone around his camping site. A tent, 2 chairs, scattered gear. He was talking to his girlfriend through the video, giving her a look at the scenery.
Filming, so you know my girlfriend could see what's going on where I'm at, share that a little bit. You know, tent, chairs, and I heard a little noise up the hill here.
You could hear the calm sounds surrounding him. Birds, and every so often. Maybe something else, a crunch, a movement. Just then everything suddenly changed.
Shape up there. My God.
"You gotta check out this hill up here," he said, climbing higher for a better view. The footage gets shaky, but suddenly he stopped. His voice shifted from casual to alarmed. "Unbelievable," he thought to himself.
But that ain't right. It's like a wolf, but...
The camera zoomed awkwardly towards a rocky outcrop. Near the boulders, something could be seen as a large wolf-like creature, but it was something more. Whatever it was moving wrong. Size too tall, too aware, too unnatural. Michael's voice cracked at that moment. He had seen animals before. Camping often would prepare him, right? But this shocked him, and he blurts the fact that he did not have any weapon with him.
All right, well, you know, I've never seen anything like it. Camping outdoors a lot, and of course I didn't bring my gun like I normally do.
From there, the camera shakes as he backs away, trying his best to document what he's seeing, even though he was freaked out. The footage is rough, but very typical of early 2000s phone quality, but it adds to the eerie authenticity. No filters, no edits, just fear. This shot had no final reveal, no perfect money shot.
My God.
But that's what makes this real and more believable. This is raw, unfiltered. Humans. A man in the woods with something he can't explain, and no weapon to defend himself. Just a phone, a shaking hand, and his mind telling him something's watching. Whether it was a cryptid, a misidentified creature, or something even stranger, this video remains one of the most frightening encounters ever caught on a 2004 cell phone camera. And Michael Lacoma? We don't think he ever went camping alone again.